thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Yeah. What's up? It's our boy Coach Malachi Williams in the building. We back up in this BIH. True Media Today USA Boxing, man. Our boy Coach Malachi Williams is here. It is what it is. Shout out to Team Freeway Boxing. We are the national spokesperson of Team Freeway Boxing. Coach Malachi, it is what it is, man. We got a lot of big things that we are doing. We will be doing. Please stay tuned. Hate, like, share, subscribe, share this show. Let everybody know what time it is. You know what I mean? It is what it is, man. When it comes to this boxing shit, man, we got the hottest daytime boxing podcast in the YTBC, hands down. As I said before, we are unfuckwittable. It is what it is. I rub a lot of people the wrong way, and I really don't give a damn. Let's give everybody in the chat a round of applause. It is what it is. We're gonna have a good show today. Shout out to Dougie Fischer. Shout out to Dougie Fischer, man, of Ring Magazine. A lot of people have heard of the Ring Magazine and all that stuff there, but they really don't know the significance of it. A lot of people heard of the ring belt, don't know the significance of it. People who know about the ring and all that stuff there, the older guys probably know from a historical standpoint. In today's time, you have a lot of casuals and social media boxing fans, so they don't know nothing about the ring. Probably don't even care about it or whatever the case may be, and that's fine. Their boxing knowledge is very, very limited, and I understand that. So, we're going to call Doug in a minute, Dougie Fischer in a minute. He's, have to take his time into consideration. Understand, guys, that when I do have guests on the show, these guys take their time out of their busy day in order to come on the show, and I can't hold them hostage. So I have a list of questions I'm going to ask Doug, very similar to what we did with our good brother Timothy Bradley. Shout out to Timothy Bradley and all of those guys, Steve Kim, all of those guys, Bill Haney as well. I spoke to Bill. Shout out to Bill Haney. Shout out to Terrence Crawford, Bernard the Boxer, Bomac, Red, Saul, all of those guys over there. And, Trey, what's going on, Trey? And it is what it is, man. But let's get into the show. Shout out to my lovely sister, man, Lisa Bells. Today is Tenderoni Fridays. So, we give it up for the Tenderonis over here. This is a pro Tenderoni channel. We love the Tenderonis, the honey dips. We love the Tenderonis, the honey dips, and the PYTs. We love the Tenderonis, the honey dips, and the PYTs. It is what it is. So, and we like to give the ladies a platform to come over here and rock out. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You know what I mean? So, let's get ready to get into the show now, because I got to call Doug. Dougie Fischer exclusive interview, right? Why Devin Haney wasn't ranked in Ring Magazine's top 10 pound for pound, right? So we're going to find out exactly how does it work. We're going to have some boxing talk on here, and we get a chance to educate a lot of people as it relate to, because a lot of people hold, you see fans online, they're always arguing and debating about who pound for pound. Well, my body's supposed to be pound for pound or this and that. And a lot of the guys who argue about the pound for pound, they don't have a boxing criteria, and they don't even know what the hell pound for pound means. What I've learned, especially from yesterday's show, what I learned is, I'm not going to, what I'm going to do from this point forward, I just throw the information out there, but it's not my job to sit back and try to educate social media boxing fans, or even more so casuals. I throw the information out there, and what I've learned, and I got to go back to my teachings when I was in the MOS, when I was in the NOI, that, you throw the information out there, and those who are listening, those are the ones who you are teaching. The other ones, you don't worry about that. If those who are not listening or don't care for the information, but they'll still be there to watch. Yeah, they'll still be there to watch. The message is not for them. The message is only for those who are willing to receive it, right? You get what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Now, Dougie Fischer Ring Magazine explains why Devin Haney is not on the Ring Magazine pound for pound list. Now, this has nothing to do with how another nigga feel from certain cities or who certain niggas' favorite fighters are, and I don't like this nigga because of such and such. When I come up with subject matters and titles and I talk boxing, I never take into equation another man's feelings. Another man's feelings is never a part of the equation when we talk this boxing talk. You know what I mean? That's just pretty much what it is. We never take, another man's feelings or emotions. I feel this way. I feel that way. No one cares how you feel. We really don't. You know what I mean? We never take that into consideration. We only stick to boxing, and that's all we care about. Now, in this exclusive interview, Dougie Fischer breaks down the process, the thought process that goes behind who goes on the pound for pound list, and what Devin Haney would have to do in order to get on there and get on that list. I just saw the new list; he's not on there, right? Doug also is going to break down the importance of the Ring magazine as it relates to the sport of boxing. And let's get into the show. So let me go ahead and give everybody a little shout out. Then we're gonna get right into it. Shout out to Mark Nash. Shout out to Lisa Bales, Knockdown 305, DeMario, Green Eyes P, Dolphin Time, them gains. It is what it is, etc., etc. Marlon, shout out to Marquis as well. Big Sarge, Eric Grimey, Warren, Mr. Warren, School of X-Men. Kiara, what's going on, Kiara? Kiki, what's going on, sis? Oh, Kiara, yeah. What's going on, sis? What's going on? That's right. Tenderoni Friday. That's right. PYT's Honey Dip, Tenderoni Friday. That's exactly what it is. Ruben Allen, it is what it is. Let's get into the show. But before we do, we got to say all praises due to the Most High, the most exalted, the most honorable, Mr. Allen Haney.
Well, I guess I got to be like everybody else and saying Al Heyman. I can quit my job now, baby. 6 figures, baby. You feel me? I'm about to
But a name. Do you have a name?
Oh, nah, I ain't got no name,
Name them names, man.
They know who they is.
Name them names, please. The names need to be named.
They know who they is.
The Mexican Monster.
Yes, sir. It is what it is, man. Today, Tenderoni Fridays, man. If you got a problem with the Tenderonis and you do not like the Tenderonis, guess what? This is what we think about you.
Look, fuck you. Fuck the plane you flew in on. Fuck them shoes. Fuck the socks with the bell on it. Fuck them cheap-ass cigars. Fuck your yuck mouth teeth. Fuck your hairpiece. Fuck your chocolate. Fuck Guy Ritchie. Fuck Prince William. Fuck the Queen. This is America. My president is black and my Lambo is blue, nigga. Now get the fuck out of my hotel room. And if I see you in the street, I'm slapping the shit out of you.
Shout out to Otto McKessie, man, for being a member for 10 months. For 12 months, for a year, man. So let's give him a round of applause. All right, we got 100 people. We got over 100 here. Let's get the lights up. Let me give my main man a call. Let me give my brother a call, man. Give him a call right quick. Hold on, guys. Give Doug a call. Hold on. Hold on, guys. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to pull up the number now. All right, here we go. All right, hold on.
Hello.
Doug, what's going on, fam?
Coach, what's happening?
Hey, man, what the link read, man? Thank you so much for taking the time out, man. I know your schedule is tight. I really appreciate you taking the time out. I'm gonna patch you into the show, man, and just want to get into it, man. If you're ready. All right, for sure. Here we go, right here. All right, everybody. Once again, this on. We do have the editor-in-chief of the Ring magazine on the phone, Mr. Dougie Fischer. Let's give him a warm round of applause.
I like it.
Hey, man, it is what it is, man. I appreciate this, bro. This is big time, man. This is really going to help educate our audience on just pretty much the history of the Ring magazine, and then what is the thought process that goes into it. For those who don't know who you are, Dougie Fischer, let everybody know who you are and give them a backstory about who you are as it relates to the sport of boxing.
I'm an editor now. I'm editor-in-chief of Ring Magazine. Prior to that, I was an associate editor for years. I've been editor-in-chief since the end of 2017. So my first full year was 2018 that I was, helming the publication. Which is not to say I make all the decisions and that I do all the heavy lifting or whatnot, because it really is a group effort. All those years that I was, editor-in-chief, I'm going to say from 2018 through 2020, I needed our senior editor, Brian Hardy. I needed our managing editor, Tom Gray, who's now over at the Sporting News. I needed our creative director, Lamar Clark. And obviously we needed our pool of, contributors, our freelance writers and whatnot to make it, to actually make that tangible magazine, there's a little bit of extra work that goes into producing a hard copy publication than goes into producing daily content for a website, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, prior to being part of the Ring, my first year with the Ring was late 2008, and I came on as like the co-editor of the Ring's official website. It was called The Ring Online at the time, and now it's called ringtv.com. But prior to that, I founded a website with Steve Kim and a guy named Thomas Gervaisi, who's now like a prolific UFC writer, mixed martial arts writer. Really started out in women's boxing and was recently inducted into the Women's Boxing Hall of Fame for all he's done. And a webmaster named Gary Randall. The four of us started Max Boxing in 2001. And prior to that, I founded a website called House of Boxing in 1997 with Gary Randall, the webmaster. Really that was my entree into boxing was the internet. Even though I had been doing freelance articles, like writing for fight programs or for local newspapers going back to 1994. In fact, the first time I was published in Ring magazine was 1994, but it wasn't really like a sort of even a part-time sort of gig until the late 90s with the internet really taking off. And then with that speculator boom, venture capitalists wanted to okay, how can we profit off this new media? They were calling that new media in the late 90s. Just
Late
the
90s,
internet.
yeah. Late 90s. Yeah, some people.
There was the dot-com boom.
Yeah.
And so, what happened was these folks, these day traders and sports agents over from New York and New Jersey, they bought House of Boxing. And we signed the deal. They started courting us in 99, and we signed the deal in January or February of 2000. And from that point on, I became a full-time boxing writer. And I was mainly a boxing writer / columnist for about 6 or 7 years. And then I became more of an editor with Max Boxing. And then in late 2008 or the start of 2009, I came over to the Ring, and I was a co-editor with a guy named Michael Rosenthal of the Ring's online destination. And really since then, really since the 2010, more of an editor than a writer, but I still write. For a long time, I had my twice weekly column, which is basically letters to the editor. I called it the mailbag, Dougie's mailbag.
I remember that.
And I don't do that anymore. It's not, every week. I'll do it whenever I have time to do it. But I did that for like 20 years. That was a 20-year column that I did. So, and I still cover fights. I still do Deadline. I was in Vegas for Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia. I was on press row for that, and I wrote the Deadline story for that. So I still like doing that. I still like to write. I write columns and articles for the Ring magazine. But really, most of my energies go into the editorial planning and the assigning of stories and that sort of thing. It's not as glamorous, you know what I mean? It's kind of boring editing other people's work, but right. I do get a satisfaction out of it because somebody's got to do it,
Right. I get it. So for those who may not know, who owns the Ring magazine?
Oscar De La Hoya bought it in 2007. It was no secret. It was a big deal. It was something Oscar wanted to do for years. He had heard that the publication may have been struggling financially, or the owner of the time had other interests. The owner at the time was like a boxing collector, he collected memorabilia, but his passions was really pro wrestling. And can't think of the name of maybe Pro Wrestling Illustrated was the name of the magazine. Right. I think he still owns it. It's been around Pro Wrestling Illustrated has been around for a long, long time. Anyways, they published Pro Wrestling Illustrated along with the Ring, and for a time they had published the Ring's sister publications, KO Magazine,
I remember KO
and
magazine.
Boxing World and Boxing, whatever the year was, Boxing 1999, Boxing 2005, whatever.
Yeah.
But they got rid of those. They just kind of reduced it to just the Ring.
Consolidated.
Yeah, and the publishing company, they made their money from the crossword puzzles. They published crossword puzzles. That was their bread and butter. So the word had got out that maybe he would be willing to sell, and Oscar went for it and bought it. Now Oscar's not a publisher. It's not like he knows what to do with the magazine, but as a kid, he grew up reading the magazine. He couldn't wait to see his name in the rankings. Couldn't wait to see his face on the cover if he could make it that far.
Right.
Because he was dreaming about this stuff when he was an amateur, even before he won his gold medal in the 1992 Olympics. So, it was a big deal to Oscar in 1995 when he was Fighter of the Year, Ring Magazine's Fighter of the Year, and he was on the cover. And he received a Fighter of the Year championship belt. Same deal when he received the Ring Magazine pound for pound championship belt after the Pernell Whitaker fight.
Right.
And then all those covers that he was on because of all those great fights that he was a part of in the 90s and the early part of the 2000s. So he had the capital, he had the money. I think people around him had different visions of what they could do with the magazine. I don't think any of that really came to fruition, but he bought the magazine and he kept it going. I don't think the magazine would have reached 100 years without Oscar De La Hoya as the owner.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you know what I was saying was, so you just that pivoted into my next question: how long has the Ring been around? But you just said that the Ring has been around for 100 years. So what?
101 years. Yeah, as of this February, it's 101 years old. It was founded in February of 1922.
Okay. What is the purpose of the Ring magazine, and what does it represent?
When it was founded, the purpose of the magazine was to keep the integrity of the sport, because the sport in the early 20s was still illegal in a lot of states, and it was highly unregulated. And the inspiration for the Ring magazine's founder, Nat Fleischer, who, by the way, was the editor-in-chief for 50 years, from 1922 to 1972. So it was his baby. But he saw that with the popularity of Jack Dempsey, who had won the heavyweight championship in 1919, the money that Dempsey was generating was encouraging states, particularly on the East Coast, to legalize boxing, because that way it would come under the auspices. Those fights would come under the sanctioning auspices of the state commissions, and they were able to tax that revenue. And Dempsey was doing $1 million gates.
Jack Dempsey?
You know what I'm saying? In 1920, in 1921, in 1922, and
Jack
throughout
Dempsey?
the 20s, Jack Dempsey
Okay.
was doing $1 million gates. There's no TV revenue. You know what I mean? There ain't no TVs. You know what I'm saying? Like, even radios aren't in everybody's home at this point. You know what I mean? The king of media at this time is print media. And the fastest way to getting news was, the telegraph or whatever. But Tex Rickard, his promoter, was visionary. He knew how to market a fight. He knew how to promote a fight. And he would go out and build stadiums specifically for a prize fight. And he would make sure there were enough butts, in the seats or in and around the ring where he could make as much money as possible. So with the rise of Jack Dempsey, a lot of states were saying, hey, we're going to legalize boxing. Like, this makes sense. It makes dollars, so it makes sense. And he didn't want boxing, the legalized boxing, to be a passing fad. In other words, he didn't want it to go away once Jack Dempsey retired. And he thought that there needed to be some publication that was going to uphold the integrity of the sport. And that's why he started the Ring Magazine championship belt. And the first guy he recognized as, the Ring Magazine champion was Jack Dempsey. the world recognized heavyweight champion. But prior to this, and prior to the ring establishing rankings, which they did in 1925, you would have like somebody, let's say a fighter or a fighter's promoter would just declare, this guy is the champion, or a fighter himself would declare, hey, I've kicked enough ass. I'm the middleweight champion, and whoever doesn't think I'm the champion can come fight me. You know what I mean? And it was like that. The fighters were champions on recognition. And there were some other publications that would award championship belts that are a lot older than the ring, such as the Police Gazette. Now the Police Gazette, its bread and butter was, it was a tabloid, and they printed, sensationalist, salacious, sometimes gruesome, police blotter, police stories, gruesome crimes and that kind of stuff, gossip, that sort of stuff. But they also covered sports. And the publisher of the Police Gazette was a boxing fan, and was actually, I think he was like involved in boxing too, either up front or under the table, like would manage, certain prize fighters or whatever. And because of this, if they wanted to recognize, a champion in a division or whatever, they were going to do that, even if that wasn't the case, even if there was like 2 or 3 other guys claiming to be the champion in that division, or if they crowned a champion or whatever, and whatever, for whatever reason that champion fell out of their favor, it's ship them. You know what I'm saying? So, and on top of that, Fischer also didn't trust commission. So once boxing was legalized, like in 1920, among most of the East Coast states, all of the states except for New York State, they got together. I'm talking about Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Massachusetts, what have you. Maybe Michigan, and Illinois was part of it too, because Detroit and Chicago were fight towns at that time. Mm-hmm. But they got together and they formed something called the National Boxing Association, and it was an association. It was an association of state athletic commissions. Okay. And they were going to work it out amongst themselves and say, listen, this boxing thing, we can make some money with this, but we can't hog it all the way, New York does. New York is just going to hog it. Like, we need to work out a system, work it out amongst ourselves, a schedule, a fight schedule, so like 1 month, the big fights in Chicago. The next month, the big fights in Jersey City. Okay. The month after that, the big fight's going to be in Boston. The next fight after that, the big fight's going to be in Philadelphia, and we're going to recognize champions in 8 weight classes. And they started doing that, and that started in 1921. Now, by the 60s, the National Boxing Association became the World Boxing Association, and they moved their headquarters over to South America. And that's why the WBA today says, hey, we're 100 years old, or we're over 100 years old. Technically they are, but as a sanctioning organization, the WBA began in the 60s, just like the WBA. I remember that. There's a difference between a sanctioning organization and an actual association.
I'm gonna get to that. Yeah. That's a question I have. I'm gonna get to that.
Yeah, but just real quickly, you asked about the purpose of the Ring magazine. Fleischer didn't trust the commission. He thought that, they would bicker amongst themselves. They would fight over who's going to fight when or who's going to fight where, and that titles would be awarded or lost in boardrooms as opposed to the ring. And his whole thing is you win the Ring magazine championship, you're the champion until somebody beats you in the ring. So it was sort of a purity of the sport, and he wanted to have independent rankings. He also didn't trust the commission. He figured the commission's like, if there's a popular kid from Philadelphia, they're going to push him up the rankings. They're going to, the Pennsylvania representative's going to push the Philadelphia kid up the rankings. Okay, I get it. Because it's going to make sense. It's going to make dollars. Yeah, I get it. Just like today, the way you'll see the sanctioning organizations, and you'll see somebody in the top 5. You're like, why is this person up here? Like, this guy is, I don't even know who this person is. You got to box rec them, and you see they haven't beaten anybody. Well, trust me, there's been some money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's like, you know, and I'm not saying necessarily like a manager or a promoter literally, wires the sanctioning organization money. No, it's not usually that way. It has, I mean, that's been proven in the past, you know what I'm saying? But, usually it's like, they agree for that fighter to fight for like a lesser belt. And, the promoter gets a sanctioning fee from the youth title or the silver title or the gold title or the Continental America's title or the Latin America's title or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They're going to get their money that way. Or they just know, oh, this fighter is aligned with this powerful promoter, be it Top Rank, that's, association with ESPN, or PBC and Showtime and that kind of they know it'll pay off for us. We push this guy up the rankings and he gets our belt. We know when he fights, there's going to be money when he fights, right? Because, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I get exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get exactly what you're saying.
So Fleischer was thinking, and he was right, that the commissions would be like that, kind of like the sanctioning organizations are today, showing a certain favoritism to certain fighters because they know it's going to pay off. They know it's going to pay off for them. And so he was like, I can't be. But now at first, he had Tex Rickard, and Tex Rickard was a big part in getting the ring, on its feet, getting it, those first magazines published or whatever. And when they first started publishing rankings, it was the sole judge, the sole person that was doing it was Tex Rickard.
Right.
He was the biggest promoter, and the dude did know boxing, inside and out. But Rickard. If something happened where another publication tried to buy the ring ranking and just went to Rickard and say, Rickard, can we pay for the rankings, or can we publish the rankings in our publication? And it might have been a newspaper. Hell, it might have been the Police Gazette. I don't know for sure. But Fleischer got wind of this and sued Rickard. And part of the settlement was Rickard, he gave up his piece of the Ring magazine. So
Doug,
Fleischer became the sole owner, and from that point on, the rankings was his baby, but it was also he came up with them along with the other staffers at Ring Magazine, and as the magazine grew and got older, he began to pick up correspondents from other parts of the world that also put their 2 cents into the Ring rankings. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Now I get it. So I know your time is short. So what I want to do, I want to hit these points. So because I don't know how much time you have. So, but I know your time is short. So let me hit these points, and then I definitely want to get these questions into you because I know you can answer them.
Yeah.
Do fighters have to pay any fees to get the Ring Magazine belt?
No.
Okay.
They don't pay anything. The fighters don't pay anything. The managers don't pay anything. The promoters don't pay anything. The networks don't pay anything. There's no contract with us, as there is with the sanctioning organizations. It's our championship is based only on who you beat. You got to work your way up the rankings. If you can work your way up into the number 1 or number 2 position, and then fight that next best fighter, or in some cases number 1 versus number 3. You can win a vacant Ring Magazine championship belt. The other way to win that belt is to beat a sitting or a defending Ring Magazine champion. And there's we spend the money. You know what I'm saying? Like we spend money having the belt manufactured by Title Boxing, and they do a great job. And we spend the money in shipping that belt out wherever it is, anywhere in the world, wherever it is. It could be Thailand, it can be Japan. It can be, Ukraine, wherever it is, if the fighter can't come to us to get that belt, we will ship the belt out to that fighter.
So
Australia, South America, whatever. Sometimes it's really costly, but
I get it. How do you determine who gets the Ring belt or not?
Like I said, you have to, in the past, okay, like when there was just 8 weight classes,
if you could summarize it, like how do you determine it?
Yeah, in the past, basically, the Ring Magazine Championship was the championship. It was the lineal championship.
Okay.
The first champions to receive the belt in 1922 was Jack Dempsey, and then it was Pancho Villa, who was a popular flyweight champion. But those guys were undisputed. You know what I'm saying? There was nobody else claiming, you know. So those first Ring Magazine championship belts, you know, and everybody had one in every division by, 1925. They were also the lineal champions. They were undisputed because there was nobody else, you know. Everybody agreed. There was Ring Magazine, there was the NBA, the National Boxing Association, and that was it. And at the start, everybody was in agreement. Now, as time went on, sometimes the NBA would recognize somebody different than what the Ring Magazine would recognize. But that wasn't that often. But it did happen. It did happen. Now, the championship policy was done away with in 1989 when Ring Magazine got a new publisher. And it wouldn't be reinstated until 2002. And it was editor-in-chief Nigel Collins reinstated it in 2002. And at that time, there were only 3 undisputed champions, recognized undisputed champions in boxing. There was Bernard Hopkins at middleweight, there was Lennox Lewis at heavyweight, and Kostya Tszyu at junior welterweight. So Nigel Collins immediately recognized all 3 of those fighters as Ring Magazine champions. And he said, for all those other divisions, you know, and there was like 13 or 14 other divisions, he said, the number one contender versus the number 2 contender, the winner of that fight will be recognized as the Ring Magazine champion. And in some cases, number 1 versus number 3, you know, I guess maybe with the blessing of the ratings panel or whatever. And that's how it's been. That's how it's been.
Okay. So there's no such thing as promoters, fighters, advisors, contact Ring, and they actually get their, let's say you have a list, pound for pound list. If you could just summarize it, yes or no. If no promoters don't get in contact with your advisors or fighters and say, hey, I want to get put on your ring list, top 10 or whatever.
No, they're not. No. You can't be a member of the ratings panel if you're a manager, even if you're a trainer. You know, there's conflicts of interest there. You know, certainly if you're a promoter. Now, I get contacted, and I'm sure other members of the panel get contacted by promoters, managers, advisors, what have you, all the time about their fight. They're always hustling to get their fighter recognition, and there's nothing wrong with that. They've all done it. They've all, I mean, big shots. You know, the big timers. You know, Shelly Faithful once called me in regards to Deontay Wilder. And he wasn't saying, hey, put the Ring Magazine title on the line for Deontay. He was just asking, hey, if before the fight was made, he said, if Deontay Wilder fights Luis Ortiz, this is before their first fight, do you think that could be for the Ring Magazine title? And I said, no, it can't. And he said, why not? Because I think at the time, Wilder was number 1. I think maybe Wilder might have been the number 1 rated heavyweight. Or maybe he was number 2. Maybe Anthony Joshua was. I got to go back and see what year that was. And when Wilder fought Ortiz for the first time. And I said, Ortiz is rated like number 4 or 5. And he kind of scoffed or whatever, but he respected it, you know? So we get that sort of thing. You know what I mean? From an advisor, from a manager, from a promoter. Eddie Hearn did the same thing when Joshua fought Joseph Parker before their fight. He just called and asked, you know. And then and Hearn would do that from time to time. He'd call and say, you know, especially with these British guys, like they really want to fight for the ring title. You know, it seems like more so than fighters from other parts of the world. And he'll ask, like, who does he have to fight to get the title, to get the vacant featherweight title or the vacant lightweight title or whatever. And we tell him, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, when he had Anthony Corrala, it's like Corrala's got to fight Jorge Linares, because Linares is the ring champion. Or no, actually he wasn't. Linares was number 1 contender, and Corrala was number 3, and we put it on the line for them. That's what we did. Yeah.
So what is the ring's relationship with the other sanctioning bodies like the WBC, the WBA, the IBF?
I think we get along. With them. I mean, sometimes I might say things that sting them a little bit. I was told that I said some things during the International Boxing Hall of Fame last summer that, you know, they had me go up and speak about the Ring Magazine, and I don't remember saying anything negative towards the WBC, but I was told by certain folks that Mauricio was upset with what I'd said. And, you know, I like Mauricio. I don't have anything against him at all. And I think he does a great job with the WBC. And I don't think, I'm not one of these purists who thinks that the sanctioning body should be abolished, because oftentimes they help make fights. You know, they add to the confusion and the fractured nature of the sport. But a lot of times, a fight that fans really want to see, it's going to happen because of the sanctioning body mandatory. It's not happening because the promoters want it to happen. It's not happening because the network gives a shit. It's happening because the fighter doesn't want to lose his or her title. And you know, they have this thing called a purse bid, where you know the promoters or the networks can put up the money, and the largest bid wins. And I like that. That's fair. You know, so there is a positive impact that sanctioning bodies can have on the sport. And you know, listen, it helps fighters make money. When a fighter gets a world title, or even like a secondary world title, they get paid more money. That's in the fighter's contract. You know, they might be making, they might be on TV or whatever on a regular basis, but they're making like, you know, between $10,000 and $50,000. But it'll be in their contract that they got to get over six figures once they get a hold of a major recognized world title.
Okay.
So it helps the fighters make money, and I'm all for that. But you know, getting back to Suleiman, you know, I wrote him an email, and I wanted to talk to him face to face, as a matter of fact, and I was going to do that at their convention. They had a convention last year in Cancun, and I wasn't healthy enough at the time. I had some nerve issues or whatever, and it made flying really difficult. So I was staying home, but I reached out to him and told him, you know, that I respect him, and I don't have any ill feelings towards him or anybody else, you know, with the sanctioning organizations. I don't view the Ring Magazine as a sanctioning organization. I'm not trying to replace anybody. I do believe that the Ring Magazine championship belt is the most prestigious in the sport. And I have my reasons for that. I know I'm biased because I'm with the Ring. I've been with the Ring for years. I'm the editor-in-chief, but I felt the same way before I was affiliated with Ring Magazine. And I can tell you why. You know what I mean? It's just, to me, it's the purity of it. It's the fact that we don't collect a sanctioning fee. It's the fact that it's only a special fighter. A fighter has to go through hell to get it. Has to really walk through that gauntlet to earn a Ring Magazine championship belt. And as much as I love Mauricio Suleiman, and I think the WBC does they're great at marketing, right? That green belt. I mean, as far as an iconic belt, the WBC is on par with Ring Magazine. You know what I mean? I mean, with Ring Magazine, you see these iconic fighters from yesteryear, like Henry Armstrong and Joe Louis, or Rocky Marciano with the Ring Magazine championship belt. Even like the first Rocky movie, you know, Stallone is holding up the Ring Magazine championship belt after he beat Apollo Creed in the sequel. But with the green belt, you think Mike Tyson, you think Julio Cesar Chavez. You know, it gets no better than that. So I mean, I know the green belt is coveted by fighters internationally, and I know that fans recognize the green belt. But it's like, this is just my humble opinion, it's oversaturation, too much.
Okay.
All those belts look alike. A WBC youth title looks very much like a WBC world title. A WBC silver title looks just like the world title. WBC diamond belt they all look alike. They give out green belts to amateurs now. The amateurs are walking around like their shit don't stink. But yeah, man, WBC champion. It's like, man, everybody's got a WBC belt. You know what I mean? And they're good with it. You know, like after the fight, they're in the ring. Even before the fighter can say that first word with the post-fight interviewer, they're going to put a T-shirt, WBC T-shirt on them. They're going to put a hat on them, right? You know, if you're Tyson Fury, they'll give you a green tie. You know, they got bracelets. They got a medallion. It looks like an Olympic gold medal. They got a medallion that they give the award to the loser of the fight, you know. And I mean, I feel like if the WBC could sanction every bout on every card, they would do that. But to me, that dilutes what a world champion is. If everybody can't be a world champion. You understand what I'm saying?
I totally agree with that. So
Yeah.
basically, what you said, belts do matter, because if fighters get belts, then they can make more money by having the belt,
and they raise their status, and
Right.
they take a step forward in the sport. Generally speaking, if a fighter wins one of these sanctioning body belts, WBO, IBF, WBA, WBC, they're going to move up in our rankings. If they're not already in the top 5, if they weren't ranked, getting that belt, generally speaking, it's going to get them in the top 10.
Okay.
And then they defend it a while, they're going to move up the rankings, especially if they're looking good, especially if those opponents are tough. If they unify, that's when they move into the top 5. And generally speaking, if a fighter can get all those belts, they're going to win the Ring Magazine Championship belt if they didn't earn it on their way to becoming undisputed, like Josh Taylor did.
Okay. So in August of 2022, last year, right? August 2022, you updated your pound for pound list, and you had 10 names on that list. And I'm going to read it to you. You had Alexander Usyk, A New Way to Monster, Terrence Crawford ranked number, and you had him at number 3, Spence number 4, Canelo number 5, Lomachenko number 6, Dimitri Bivol number 7, Josh Taylor number 8, Jamel Charlo number 9, and Baturiev number 10. Devin Haney, who became the undisputed lightweight champion of the world, he, at that time, was not on that list. Could you tell me why?
Well, I think there were members of the panel that thought he deserved to be at least crack the top 10, and there were members of the panel who said, "Yeah, you're undisputed. That makes you the lightweight champion, the lightweight champion, and certainly recognized by the ring. Makes you one of the best at lightweight, but we're not sure if you're actually the best at lightweight. There's a guy named Tank Davis out there. You know what I mean? You haven't fought Lomachenko yet." They were looking at who held that undisputed title. And no disrespect to the Australian, but George Kambosos Jr., they just didn't think that he was a quality opponent. They looked at who those guys had to beat, the 10 guys that you mentioned, right? They looked at who those guys had to beat before they entered the ring rankings, and they said, no. They're looking at Devin's resume, and they were saying, okay, Yuri Orcus Gamboa, we recognize him. He's beyond shot. Toss that out. Jorge Linares, that was good work. That was good quality 12 rounds of growing experience for the young man, but not a prime Jorge Linares. This isn't the version of Jorge Linares that Lomachenko fought, right? Or that Anthony Krala fought, or any of these guys that Linares had fought when he was on a win streak, on a run, on his way to winning the Ring Magazine lightweight title. They were looking at all that, and they're thinking, who is the best guy in his prime that Devin Haney has fought? Is it Kambosos? Is it Joseph Diaz Jr.? And they're thinking, damn, it might be Joseph Diaz Jr. So there's different logic when it comes to that, and this is why it's always a debate, and nobody's ever satisfied with who's in anybody's pound for pound top 10. But even the members of the panel who were voting, and we just go, it's democratic. We go by majority vote, right?
How many members on the panel?
There's 20 members on the panel, and I would say out of that 20, between 10 and 12 are active, like every week. Every week, like they give their opinions on a weekly basis. And there's others that, there's an email chain that goes out every Sunday morning, right? And everybody chimes in, It's usually kicked off by Anson Wainwright. Sometimes, one of the others will beat him to it, but it's usually this guy from Wales named Anson Wainwright. And he just goes down all the weight classes where a ring-rated fighter was in action, or where there was a bout where the fighter, so the winner of the fighter, is perceived as just outside of the ring rankings. He'll bring that up.
Okay. So
the debate begins. But there's others, there's old school guys that they're not comfortable with email. They'll just call me up. There's other folks that are shy. Because what I do is every couple of weeks, like every 2 to 3 weeks, I'll round up all of the changes, and I'll post it on the website. I did a posting yesterday. It's called the Ring Ratings Update, and I'll show like the changes in each division as of April 22.
Okay.
And from the pound for pound all the way down to strawweight, you'll see there's movement. Fighters won or lost, and they dropped in the rankings, or they advanced in the rankings, or they were, they dropped out of the rankings or whatever. But I'll put like people's comments, and there's some guys, some gals that they're shy about that. They'll say, listen, I think whatever. I think Devin Haney. They'll say, I think Devin Haney should be in the pound for pound top 10, but don't put that in your story. I'm and so some of them are like that. So like I said, there's 20, but there's like 10 really active every week.
So
and they're scattered all around the globe.
Right. So to summarize what you just said, you're basically saying that who you fight matters. You guys didn't put in August 2022.
Absolutely.
The reason why you didn't put Devin Haney in there at that time because you felt like he did not fight the top names of some of the best fighters in order to get in the top 10, even though he was the undisputed champion.
Yeah.
And you felt those other guys who was in the top 10, they fought better competition in order to get in, and that's why you put him in there. I got you.
Right. I mean, and there were some people who said, like, well, that makes no sense. He has your belt. He should be in the pound for pound. But there's plenty of ring champions that are not in the pound for pound currently, and historically. And just because you're undisputed doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be in the pound for pound.
Okay.
And let me just give you an example real quick, because when Josh Taylor won the World Boxing Super Series Junior Welterweight tournament, he had to beat our number 1 rated junior welterweight at the time, which is Regis Prograis. And Josh Taylor was our number 2 rated junior welterweight. He won that fight. He beat a guy. Listen, first of all, by entering that tournament, he was signing on to fight solid guys back to back to back, right? Mm-hmm. And most of us knew the finals was going to be between Prograis and Taylor. Nobody wanted to fight Prograis. Nobody did.
Yeah, I remember.
Taylor fight. It's a close fight. Could have gone the other way. Maybe if it was in America, maybe Prograis would have won it. But whatever. It was a hell of a fight. Taylor won that fight. 2 sanctioned body belts. And he won the Ring Magazine vacant 140-pound title. I thought Taylor deserved to be in the pound for pound based off that win. And there were members of the panel that did, but the majority didn't think that was enough. The majority of the panel said, yeah, that's Prograis a good win. And I pointed out, hey, he had to beat for his first world title Ivan Baranchyk, who was a smasher, undefeated at the time. And he also has a win over Victor Postol. That doesn't mean anything. And they're like, yeah, that's solid. Prograis, Postol, Baranchyk. They said it's not quite enough. Who does he have to beat? They said, well, he has to beat the new number 1. Now that he's a champion, the new number 1 contender was Jose Ramirez, who was unbeaten and held 2 belts himself. He had the WBC and the WBO belt. So he had to come to America and beat that dude, which he did, and then he became undisputed, and then he finally got into the ring ranking.
Okay.
It's not easy. It's hard, man. It's not personal. I mean, honestly, I thought Taylor could have gone in with fighting Prograis, because trust me, nobody wants to fight Prograis, even now, years later.
Okay.
He fought that. Now, let me ask you this: if you think there's a lightweight out there that's afraid to fight George Kambosos,
no,
or Joseph Diaz Jr.?
No, I fight George Kambosos, and I'm not even a professional boxer. So
see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like he could walk into.
I mean, I'll lose.
He's a tough. Listen, he's a tough, gritty, lower top 10 contender. He'll fight it. He's one of them tough Aussies, man. I respect him, man. I do. I respect Joseph Diaz Jr. He was a 2012 U.S. Olympian. He got skills, but he's really a featherweight. And he was probably, he was a title holder at 130. At 135, he's kind of like a high-level gatekeeper. And I say that with respect. But what I'm going to say next, say with respect. I say if Joseph Diaz Jr. or George Kambosos walked into a room of lightweight prospects, not contenders, prospects. I'm talking guys who are 19 and 20, who have, between 8 and 15 fights. Every one of them would stand up and say, yeah, I'll fight you. I'll fight you right now. Now, if Regis Prograis walks into a room of junior welterweight contenders seasoned veteran and says, "Who wants to fight me?" Nobody's standing up. Nobody's doing it. You gotta beat killers. You gotta beat them type of dudes.
Okay, I got you. You hammered it home. You did more than enough to prove the point. And I appreciate that, Doug. When the list came out, and I'm pivoting to this because when the list came out, Devin Haney felt some type of way. You know what I mean? I'm looking at an article right here. Devin Haney put out a tweet. He said the Ring Magazine can keep their belt. You won't see me with it before the fight or after the fight because he wasn't on the list. But you just explained the reason why you said Devin Haney wasn't on the list because you felt like his resume wasn't strong enough. He didn't really fight anybody.
Yeah, and by the way,
I'm saying, is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
It's not me.
Well, the panel.
I was fine. I was fine with Haney being in the top 10, the pound for pound top 10, off that first win against Camboso. But it's like I said, it's democratic. It goes by vote. He didn't get the majority. I know it was close. I remember this. I know it was close. Sometimes that's just the way it goes. Sometimes that vote is a difference between whether or not we recognize a fight as a Ring Magazine championship fight or not. You know what I mean? When it comes to a number 1 versus number 3, and a lot of times I don't agree with it. You know, but it is what it is. It's just, to me, it's just like, listen, Haney is young. He's still paying his dues. He's still, if you did a poll out there and said, like, he's undisputed champion, right? But that, if you did a poll as to who is the best lightweight in the world, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to say Gervonta Davis. There really will. And, and belts matter and being undisputed matters. And certainly I think being Ring Magazine champion means something. But what that means is you still have, listen, there's going to be people who are going to say off of one fight at lightweight that Shakur Stevenson is the lightweight to beat. He's the world beater at that division. The only way these guys are going to prove who's best is if they fight each other. And if they don't fight each other, it's going to be up to interpretation as to who's pound for pound worthy, or who's the best in that specific division.
I say this all the time, who you fight matters. In this era right here, people say belts don't matter. You just refute it. We just diffuse that. All you people saying belts don't matter. Yeah, y'all don't. We just diffuse that. And then who you fight matters. Apparently, we just diffuse that.
Absolutely.
But when Devin Haney was kind of upset about that, and he said that you guys can keep your belt. And I don't know how you felt about it when he said it. But has Devin Haney returned? Has he returned the ring belt since he said that you guys can keep it?
No, he hasn't.
He hasn't returned the belt.
And guess what? I'm glad. I was listening when I first saw that. I was mad. I felt that it was disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was being petty.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't nasty, but I immediately tweeted out, "Send it back then, champ. Mail it back."
Okay.
And that's it. I didn't criticize him. I didn't try to put him down or nothing like that. And I even got on the phone. A guy who just tried to call in, Joe Sanalaquito, one of our longtime contributors. He got me on the phone with Bill Haney, and we had a long, respectful conversation that I thought was positive. And I had hoped that based on that conversation that he would bring the Ring Magazine belt to Australia for the rematch with Camboso. It didn't happen. It is what it is. I couldn't get upset about it. The same day there was Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall and Baumgardner versus Mayer, and that was 2 ring championship bouts, where they brought the titles in the ring with them, and it was announced, and the commentators talked about it and all that kind of thing. You got to take the positive with the negative. You know what I mean? That happened on that same day. I think it was October 15th.
Okay.
And even I think Deontay Wilder fought Robert Helenius that night, and I'm watching the broadcast, and one of the commentators was I think it was Brian Kinney, was bringing up the ring rankings. There was a fight on that undercard. Maybe it was Caleb Plant's fight, or one of the other fights or whatever, but he was talking about the Ring Magazine ranking. So that made me feel good. You know what I mean? And there's always going to be some negatives. There's always going to be some hurdles, and you gotta recognize the good things.
Okay.
You can't focus too much on the things that are frustrating or the things that upset you.
All right, so your current list right now, you have Alexander Usyk, number 1, Inoue the Monster, number 2, Terrence Crawford, number 3, Errol Spence, number 4, Canelo Alvarez, number 5, Dmitry Bivol, number 6, Lomachenko, Vasily Lomachenko, number 7, Josh Taylor, you have him number 8, Jamel Charlo, number 9, you have Tank Davis, number 10. Why is the current the Devin Haney is undisputed champion, lightweight champion of the world. He's going to fight Vasily Lomachenko. So I guess you kind of already answered why he's not on the list based on who he fought.
But he can change that. He can change that.
Yeah, I have more. Yeah.
If you beat somebody who's actually in the pound for pound,
okay,
you'll get it. Which is, by the way, I didn't understand why Devin and Bill were going after Lomachenko's resume or saying he was overrated for all these months. I'm just like, do you not want him in the pound for pound? Are you not going to eventually fight this guy? Don't you want him in there? So when you beat him, you take his place? Whatever.
Okay, so if Haney beats Lomachenko, more than likely the panel, they will more than likely vote him to be in the top 10.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so how did if it's based on who you fought and who you beat, how did Gervonta Davis get in the pound for pound top 10?
Gervonta has been a top-rated contender over 3 weight classes, 130 pounds, 135 pounds, and 140 pounds. That's pretty rare. Now, he wasn't winning legitimate world titles in those 3 weight classes.
What do you mean by the legitimate world titles? He wasn't winning legitimate world titles.
He wasn't winning, like the first title he won at junior lightweight, 130 pounds, against a really good fighter, Jose Pedraza, who went on to win a world title at lightweight and was even a solid contender at 140 pounds. His first world title, that counts. That was the IBF belt, and the IBF doesn't split its belts or whatever. But he lost that belt on the scales, and then basically the WBA just kind of handed him a WBA title. But it was a regular title. You see what I'm saying?
Okay,
but then
so
I think you get into some sanctioning body madness here, because I think it was initially a regular title, and then they turned it into like the real title. Regardless, the titles that he's won at lightweight, and these have been WBA belts. The titles that he won at lightweight and at junior welterweight, they weren't like the real world title. They were the secondary belt.
Okay.
The WBA has something called the Super Championship belt, which is, the real world title. And then they just have their regular WBA world title, which is
the Reggie belt.
What they call the Reggie belt, or we call them a secondary title. The ring doesn't recognize secondary titles. However, listen, he went up to 140 pounds and he beat Mario Barrios. Is Mario Barrios a world beater? No, he's not. But he was a legit contender at 140 pounds. I think he was like number 5 or number 6 in the Ring Magazine ranking. So to jump from junior lightweight, where we ranked him, all the way to 140 pounds and to beat a top contender in that weight class, that's what pound for pound fighters do. Now in between beating Pedraza and Mario Barrios, there are some solid wins. I mean, he's never looked terrible, and I don't listen. Rolly Romero was not in our rankings, but Isaac Cruz was in our rankings as a lightweight. You know what I mean? Listen, Leo Santa Cruz, he started at bantamweight or whatever. But Santa Cruz, I mean, shoot, was he a 4-division world title holder, a 3-division world title holder, whatever? Seasoned veteran, and he wiped him out. You know what I mean? Santa Cruz is a name. Now, how much credit do you give him for beating a guy who was naturally at a lighter weight? I don't know. The fight took place at 130. In my opinion, Santa Cruz's ceiling was 126 pounds, and he wasn't really an offensive threat above 122 pounds. It's still, that's a name. That's a big deal. So he's been moved strategically, but he's looked. See, there's the eye test is a big part of the pound for pound for some of the panelists. Not so much me, but for other panelists.
Okay.
The way he gets rid of these guys, even if he struggles in the early rounds, the way he zaps guys when the time comes, it's breathtaking, and that resonates with people. So I would say Tank might have an edge on somebody like Devin Haney just because he's dynamic.
Okay.
He's one of these explosive boxer punches.
Okay, so Ryan Garcia, what did you guys rank Ryan Garcia? Because what I noticed about this list, and let me know if I'm wrong, this is a new list that you put out, right? Prior to putting out the new list, was Gervonta Davis on the list?
On the pound for pound?
Right, on Ring Magazine's pound for pound.
No.
Prior to this new list coming out, he wasn't on the list. So
no, he just got in.
If he just got in, what did he do or who did he beat to just get in? Like, why is he on the list now? What I'm trying to say.
He defeated his second lightweight contender.
Okay.
The first lightweight contender he beat was Isaac Cruz. And in between there, he had, Rolly Romero, not a contender recognized by Ring, but a dangerous guy.
Okay.
And then Ryan Garcia. He and Ryan Garcia were number 2 and number 3 in our lightweight ranking.
Okay. According to in the ring, right?
According to the ring, yes. Yeah. He's a top lightweight who's facing another top lightweight, and he pretty much handled him. I mean, do you think he struggled that much?
Nah, he made it look easy.
He made it look easy. Now,
yeah.
maybe that speaks more about Ryan. I'm sorry. Yeah, maybe it speaks more about Ryan than it does Gervonta. Okay, Time will tell. If Ryan Garcia comes back and struggles against a mid-level opponent or gets beat by somebody, gets upset by somebody he's not supposed to lose to, that takes luster off that win. But if Ryan gets back in the ring at 140 pounds and gets back to knocking people out, it looks pretty good. You had a young, undefeated lightweight in Davis taking on another young, undefeated, well-rated lightweight in Ryan Garcia.
So who did Ryan Garcia fight in order to become a well-rated lightweight? Because he's never won a title before.
He got in there after he beat Luke Campbell.
He beat Luke Campbell, and okay, so that's how we got in. You guys.
Campbell, I think Campbell's solid. He was a 2-time world title challenger who almost beat Jorge Linares. Ran him very close in a world title challenge.
Okay.
Fell short there. Came back and fought Vasily Lomachenko, who was on top of his game at the time, and gave him fits. Gave him a tough fight. Lost soundly. That fight was in England, but he won rounds. He didn't embarrass himself in there. So he had worked his way up the rankings, and he remained in the rankings even though he'd fallen short in 2 world title tries. And Garcia beat him. Garcia got dropped, but Garcia got up, and Garcia finished him with a body shot, just like Tank finished Garcia with a body shot. Garcia did that to a seasoned fighter in Luke Campbell.
Okay.
Who was also an Olympic gold medalist, by the way. Campbell's a solid guy. He was a solid boxer. Maybe I don't know how popular he was among American fans, but very well respected on the other side of the pond.
The reason why I asked that question was because if Tank Davis wasn't in the top 10 before the updated rankings, I wanted to know, well, how high did you guys rank Ryan Garcia? Because a lot of people,
Davis had been right on the outside. Davis's name has come up just like Devin Haney's name, just like Shakur Stevenson's name.
Okay.
Just like Bam Rodriguez's name has come up. Just like there's a lot of young guys, a lot of new blood. Who else am I thinking of? Haney, Davis, Rodriguez, Shakur Stevenson, Stephen Fulton. That's the other guy.
Yeah, Steph.
There's been a bunch of guys
that are right outside of the top 10.
Right. And whenever anything happens, if there's some movement, somebody doesn't look good, who's pound for pound ranked, like when Josh Taylor barely beat Jack Catterall. A lot of people thought he lost that fight. He definitely didn't look good. There was a lot of talk. Get him out of there. He's not pound for pound anymore. And Davis's name was one of those names that replaced him with Tank Davis. Other people said no. It got split. What happens is it gets split. because there's so many of these young guys. It's like, no, it should be Stephen Fulton. No, it should be Shakur Stevenson. No. Well, we didn't drop him. We just dropped him in the rankings because we still felt that, okay, look, he got the W against Catterall. Catterall's he's a tricky stylist. Nobody's going to look good against Jack Catterall, okay? But even if he's, struggling with Jack Catterall, that wasn't enough to erase victories over both Regis Prograis and Jose Ramirez. Both guys who are number one rated.
Fought in the tournament.
Junior welterweight
trophy.
Yeah. All that. Like, it wasn't like one bad performance doesn't erase everything that you ever did. And most folks, when it comes to pound for pound rankings, they take into account everything you did, all your body of work. So, for instance, Tank Davis, he had to kind of slowly creep up in the lightweight rankings because he was splitting his time fighting at 130 pounds, and then he jumped up to fight 140 pounds, and then he dropped back down to 135 pounds. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, where do we rank this guy? But when you look at the whole body of work, it's like, wait a minute, this guy is fighting world-class guys at junior lightweight, and junior welterweight. That's pretty impressive. That goes into like a pound-for-pound ranking kind of thing.
So the reason why the reason why I asked you earlier what type of influences do promoters, managers, advisors have on the Ring magazine is very, very important. The reason I asked you that question, because some people may feel that the reason why certain fighters are in that position because you guys may be getting paid under the table. Mauricio Sulaiman may be asking you guys for some kind of favors, and people looking at you guys as pound for pound list, Doug, and they're like, well, how did this guy get in there and that guy didn't get in, and yada 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 yada. So that's why I asked that question. This is what the fans want to know.
Listen, we're the most transparent ratings panel out there. You're gonna know all our names. You're gonna know how each member of the panel voted. You're gonna get their reasoning. All you got to do, you could Google it, Ring Ratings Update, and put a date by it, the most recent Saturday, and you get it, Yeah, we spell it out to you. Having said that, when you're talking about pound for pound, it's not an exact science.
Yeah.
I got one member of the panel, the esteemed senior editor, Brian Hardy, who says pound for pound is all about the eye test.
Eye test, okay.
You need to look like you're unbeatable. You need to look like prime Roy Jones Jr. I don't care who you're fighting. You need to look like you're untouchable.
No matter who you're fighting, so you I could fight 25 tomato cans, but if I run through the tomato cans, somebody on the panel gonna say, "Well, man, Coach Malachi, he pound for pound, he got to go on the list." So what about who you fight matters though?
Right. I'm the opposite. See, now Brian never boxed. Okay, Brian knows the sport from following it for a long time and all that, and he's been around the gyms, but Brian's never actually trained in boxing. As me, I'm somebody who trained in boxing. I'm somebody who sparred rounds. I'm somebody who boxed exhibitions, that kind of thing. If you look at me, you can ask Steve Kim. Maybe not now. I'm about to turn 53. But if you ask Steve Kim about what I look like at the LA Boxing Club, or occasionally when I would go to Wildcard Boxing Club and just shadow box, right? Or hit the heavy bag, or hit the speed bag, right?
Mm-hmm.
You think I was you think I'm descended from Sugar Ray Robinson, right? You think, oh my God, look at that speed and the technique and all of that. I'm doing everything right, and I'm being quick and nimble, and even in some sparring, I can handle myself, even when I was in my 30s, right? But listen, you put me in there with somebody who can really box, and somebody's going to hit me back, I don't look the same.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly Dougie's in survival mode. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it who you're in with, definitely. I truly believe that. So you do. I feel that to be considered a pound for pound elite fighter, you don't have to look perfect all the time. You can have tough nights. Because if you're in with tough opponents, you're gonna have to dig deep sometimes. It's not gonna be a walk in the park. And I think most of the fighters that we rank in the pound for pound right now, they've had some tough nights. They've had to dig deep where they barely won. Errol Spence against Sean Porter. I mean, Maybe I'm wrong, but I scored that by, I think, a point or two for Sean Porter. I wasn't mad that Errol Spence won that fight. Okay. I was proud to be at Staples Center in LA to witness it. It was a great fight. I'm like, no, this is good. This doesn't hurt his standing as an elite fighter. He fought a real guy. That's all. You know, he unified titles. He's doing the right thing. You know, I don't care if it was a split decision. You know, Josh Taylor's wins over Prograis and Jose Ramirez, he didn't win by a wide margin. He's in with guys who were tough. Damn, Joe Santos, Quito. You hear the beep, beep, beep? That's Santos Quito, man. He's calling.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
So the reason why I asked you this, Doug, is because, you know, you have, in today's time, I hear a very common theme right now. Belts don't matter. Things have changed, yada, 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 blah, this, quasi. I think the fans who say that are, and there's promoters like Leonard Ellaby, you know, Floyd Mayweather, himself, you know, trainers, they say belts don't matter and stuff like that. Ring Magazine, you know, you guys say you don't take any sanctioning fees like a WBC or the other sanctioning guys. So
no, and by the way, and Coach, not only that, the people on the panel, they don't get paid.
So the people on the panel don't get paid. So,
you know
there's no way that they can be influenced. No way influenced any way, form, or fashion.
If you go to ESPN.com, right, and you go to their divisional rankings, they'll tell you those rankings in all 17 weight classes. That's compiled by 3 guys, like Mike Coppinger and 2 other guys, right? I think they're all American, and they're all ESPN employees. You feel me? Now, and then when you look at some of the rank, and I'm not saying necessarily that they're pushing fighters that are signed to Top Rank or that are fighting on ESPN.com. Okay, I'm not saying that, but I am saying if you look at like the divisions where there's an ESPN fighter and there's another guy who's not an ESPN fighter who's equal to or maybe a little bit better than, more often than not, the ESPN fighter is ranked ahead of him, right? So like with like Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like they're pretty equal. If you look at their resume and what they do, they're different types of fighters or whatever. But it seems like Beterbiev is going to get the benefit of the doubt. And when you look at the pound for pound, Ring Magazine, you know, we had Gervonta Davis crack the Ring rankings. That could have happened with ESPN, but they couldn't do that. They couldn't let Tank Davis in the pound for pound without pushing out a Shakur Stevenson, right? Who fights on what network? They couldn't do that. They couldn't let Gervonta in without pushing out maybe or pushing down a Devin Haney. They don't want that, do they? Devin Haney's fight, you know what I'm saying? So there's like that, and with the pound for pound, I think they have a I don't know why. For the pound for pound rankings, they have a bigger panel. I don't know how many people it is. It's more than just 3 guys, but it's still primarily ESPN employees, whether it's ESPN, the network, or ESPN Radio, or ESPN.com. You know what I mean?
So the ESPN
employee. What I'm saying is, with our guys, yeah, we have. I mean, you know, I have a vote on the panel, right? You know, and I'm a full-time. I'm a Ring Magazine employee. Brian Hardy is a staffer, but there's other people on there that don't write for the magazine. There's a guy named Marty Mulcahy who's been on the panel for as long as I can remember. I think even before Oscar De La Hoya bought the magazine, right? He doesn't write for us. You know what I'm saying? We don't pay him no money. Tom Gray was the managing editor of Ring Magazine. He switched jobs. He works full time. He works full time for the Sporting News now. He's still on our panel. We still value his insight and his input. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
There's a difference between us and other ratings organizations.
So basically, you have. So what you're saying is, you guys have a boxing criteria, and I'm heavy on that over here. Yeah. You have a boxing criteria, and you have several different. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm also saying the people who are on this panel, they can be on other panels. Anson Wainwright is on the WBC ratings panel. Tom Gray, as I mentioned, is with Sporting News, and who knows? Maybe they have ratings. I don't even know. Adam Abramowitz is on the Transnational Boxing Ratings Board. That's an independent boxing ranking organization. You know what I'm saying? We take everybody. We get people from other countries. We get different perspectives. Nobody gets a dime.
Okay.
Nobody on this panel is getting paid for what they do.
Okay.
And that's very important. Now, having said that, people are still going to disagree with us.
Right.
People are still going to say, well, it's owned by Oscar De La Hoya or whatever. But I'm like, just show me where the golden boy bias is. I mean, listen, going into this Davis-Garcia fight, Gervonta Davis was rated ahead of Ryan Garcia. Both guys only had one real win against a ring-rated fighter, a ring-rated lightweight going into this fight. Tank had Isaac Cruz and Garcia had Luke Campbell. There wasn't much to split between them, but
so both
Tank
men
Davis is rated ahead of Garcia.
So yeah, I mean that was a very, very important question, because my thing is, if he wasn't on the list before, and if you didn't think so, I wanted to know how high did the panel rank Ryan Garcia in order to justify putting Tank Davis on Ring Magazine's pound for pound list, but a guy who's holding your belt right now, undisputed lightweight champion of the world, Devin Haney, how could you justify putting Tank on the list because he beat Ryan Garcia? You answered the question. You answered the question, but I was just trying to figure out why. What was the thought? What was the thought process?
It comes down to the eye test, or that dynamic, the charisma factor. I think Tank has that over Devin Haney. Doesn't mean he's a better fighter than Devin Haney. Doesn't even mean he's a more accomplished fighter. He's a more popular fighter by far. When he fights, people take notice. I will say this: when Anson Wainwright kicked it off, when he went through the fights of the past weekend, he didn't mention Davis in a pound for pound sense. He just went through the different divisions, and another panelist brought it up. This is a panelist. He's based in England. His name is Tris Dixon, and he brought it up. He's just like, hey, what about Tank Davis in the pound for pound? You know, he's been outside. He's been in that 11 to 15 range. Does he get in? And part of the reason he brought it up, and a few others brought it up, is there are members of the panel who think that some of the fighters that are currently ranked in the pound for pound have been in there too long. You know, there's folks that think that Lomachenko shouldn't be in there. There's folks who think that Josh Taylor shouldn't be in there.
Why is Loma there?
There's folks who think that Jermell Charlo shouldn't be in there just because he's been inactive. You know what I mean? So they're like, let's get some new blood. There's folks who think that Juan Francisco Estrada shouldn't be in there because they don't think he beat Chocolatito in the rematch or the rubber match. You know what I mean? And that didn't come from me, even though I do believe that. But so they want new blood. They want new blood, and like I said, there's these guys. There's Haney, there's Davis, there's Shakur Stevenson, there's Stephen Fulton. They're all floating around just outside of the top 10. But Davis has a way. His events attract your attention, and he has a way of winning his fights that are dramatic.
Okay.
And
so that's one of the factors.
And I think that, yeah, because you can make a case for any of these guys. You really can. You know what I mean? But Davis has the division hopping, and he's got that style and that certain, I don't know, he's got a certain it. He's got the it factor.
He got that it factor. He does.
I don't know if
have
he's
an
the face of boxing yet, but he's on his way, right? So if you don't self-destruct outside of the ring. So I think that pushed him over. I really do.
What does
I think, listen, if Haney looks great on May 20, if he dominates, or even if he doesn't dominate but just wins clearly against Vasily Lomachenko, I think he gets in and Hank gets pushed out.
I mean, he should. Well, if Devin Haney beats Lomachenko, and Lomachenko is currently ranked number 6 or 7 in your guys' pound for pound, he has to get in your top 10 because one, he has your belt. And then 2, Vasily Lomachenko, who is ranked in your top 10, if he beats that guy, it's only common sense for me if I was a voter to put him in there. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so what is the importance of even basically what you're telling me with this pound for pound, there's a lot of many different variant factors going to this. It's not necessarily it's who you fight. What's the level of competition? But then again, it's not necessarily that, because you could be fighting tomato cans, but if you're winning in dominant fashion, that could be a factor how you get on the list. So basically, there's really no a boxing criteria. The criteria there's no boxing criteria, set criteria.
Not for pound for pound.
So it's just based on how you feel, if you like the fighter or not, who you like more, and basically
whoever you're feeling.
Okay.
No, that's the problem with the pound for pound. I don't know why people get so worked up over it. I put more credence in the divisional rankings, to be quite honest. And just so you know, I normally sit out the pound for pound discussion. I'll come in as a tiebreaker sometimes. But I generally the only I'm trying to think, when have I really pushed for somebody to be included in the pound for pound? And the only time I've really lobbied, I mean, I pushed a little bit after Taylor beat Regis Prograis, but I didn't go on and on. But Ramon Chocolatito Gonzalez, when he won his third world title at flyweight, his third world title in a third weight class, and I don't know what his record was. He was like 44-0. You know what I'm saying? 38 knockouts, something crazy like that. I'm like, this guy needs to be. Because he had been our Ring Magazine #1 rated strawweight, then the #1 rated junior flyweight, and then he became the #1 rated. He was the #1 rated strawweight, then the #1 rated junior flyweight, and then he went up to flyweight and became our champion. And I'm like, come on, he needs to crack the rankings. And I even said, listen, if this guy isn't included in our pound for pound, I'm not going to vote on the pound for pound anymore. It's a joke.
Okay.
So I kind of pulled the Devin Haney there. I made an ultimatum.
But
that's the only time. That's the only time I even felt that passionate about it. So it's weird to me that everyone gets so caught up in it. Yeah,
pound for pound is subjective to the individual. I say this all the time on my show. Everybody has a different criteria. Somebody may say, well, my fighter should be pound for pound because he's the best dancer. He has more Instagram followers or whatever, and he's popping or whatever. Right. I get all of that. So basically, would you say that from a historical standpoint, and in 2023, would you say that the criteria for why the pound for pound was established from a historical standpoint, from what Ring Magazine originally started it at, would you say that that criteria has changed from that time, from back in the day till today? Today, the criteria is different now.
I think it's a term that was used going back to like the early 1900s, like certain fighters were called, and it came up for lighter weight class fighters that experienced boxing writers could tell were better than the heavyweight champions in terms of their skills and their technique. Right.
So heavyweights wasn't included on the pound for pound.
No, it was because at the time the biggest prize in all of sports was the heavyweight championship.
Okay.
And that overshadowed everything and everyone. That overshadowed other sports even, but certainly it overshadowed champions from the lighter weight classes. So Bob Fitzsimmons, who was like the first 3-division champion, he was the middleweight champion, and then he won the heavyweight championship, and then he dropped down to light heavyweight. I think I've seen news reports where he was described as the best fighter regardless of weight, right? But the best fighter in the sport was always the heavyweight champion, because they were thinking literally, he's the biggest guy out there. See, nobody beat him. So the old thinking would be like, the best fighter in the sport right now would be Tyson Fury, because nobody's beat him in the ring, and he's not only undefeated as a heavyweight, he is the biggest heavyweight out there. Taller than everybody, he's heavier than everybody, and he's got skills, right? So who's going to beat him, right? It's not like Jermell Charlo can go in there and get anything done against Tyson Fury, right? So then, just to get attention to some of the lighter weight class fighters, guys like Henry Armstrong. Henry Armstrong was doing amazing things in 1937 and 1938. But at the same time, Joe Louis, even before Joe Louis won the heavyweight championship, he was the toast of the town. He was a heavyweight champion who knocked everybody out, and he was just incredibly popular. So he's all anybody talked about. So Armstrong's management, to get attention, they were like, "Listen, you're a featherweight. You got to go up in weight." And they got him a fight with the welterweight champion, and he beat the welterweight champion. And they dropped down to lightweight and beat the lightweight champion. And then he held, all three titles: featherweight, lightweight, and welterweight at the same time for about a year or whatever. And then he dropped the other titles and just fought at welterweight, just defended the welterweight title, even though he was weighing in as like a lightweight, right? But they were talking about, okay, he's pound for pound. He did that to prove that he's pound for pound. And even today, when a fighter wants to get pound for pound recognition or wants to get on that list, when they can division hop the way Armstrong did way back in the 30s, it gets attention. People take notice of that. And then when Sugar Ray Robinson came around, they were talking, okay, pound for pound, he looks like it. Mm-hmm. By the end of his second full year as a professional, that was 1942. He was 40-0, and that year, and he was Ring Magazine's Fighter of the Year in 1942. And that year, he beat a sitting lightweight champ, but the title wasn't on the line. He beat a future middleweight champion in Jake LaMotta, and he beat a former welterweight champion, a guy who just lost the welterweight title in Chris Zivic. I think he fought 14 times that year. Mm-hmm. And they were like, damn, this is like, okay, he's not the heavyweight champion, we get it, but he's the best. So and the term was just used for one fighter, one really standout lighter weight fighter like Sugar Ray Robinson. And it was that way going up into the 80s. And at the end of the 80s, we had this dynamic heavyweight champion named Mike Tyson. And Ring Magazine recognized him as the best fighter on the planet. Mike Tyson called himself the baddest man on the planet. Mm-hmm. But Tyson wasn't just a dominant heavyweight champion. He was super popular. He was dynamic. You know what I mean? He had that it factor. He was very charismatic. And so they started putting out a top 10 pound for pound ranking in 1989, and Mike Tyson was rated number 1. And I don't remember who else was on. Now I got old magazines sitting around here. Let me look. I got an October 1988. I don't think they were doing the pound for pound rankings yet. Mm. Let me see. Nope, they weren't doing that yet. But Mike Tyson was champ.
Okay.
Who knows who they had? They probably had Julio Cesar Chavez on there, Jeff Finney.
So that's when they started adding heavyweights because of Mike Tyson. Yeah. Pound for pound, Ring started adding heavyweights. So Mike Tyson was the one that ushered that in.
That's right.
And would that be the reason why you may have a heavyweight in your pound for pound today in 2023? We
don't have one currently.
Well, you have Usyk. You have Usyk.
Oh, that's right, Usyk. I still think of him as a cruiserweight, but yeah, he's a heavyweight.
But he's a 2-division world champion.
Right. We're looking at his body of work.
He's not a natural heavyweight.
He's a good example. I mean, he's very skilled. He's super skilled, great technician. Does what he has to do to win. But he's one of those examples of a guy. He has some hard fights. He struggles sometimes, but he's one of those guys that he's at where he's at because of his accomplishments.
Dub, before I let you go, I have to ask you this here because the online they've been having a whole lot of debates about face of boxing. And everybody has a different criteria. And based on what we just spoke about, it's all over the place. What is from a historical standpoint? And I'm only asking you historical. From a historical standpoint, that's one. And two, I want an example. From a historical standpoint, from your understanding, what is the definition of the face of boxing? In your opinion?
For a historical we were talking about Jack Dempsey, right? Mm. Like a fighter that rises above the game and becomes the game. Jack Dempsey was not just heavyweight champion of the world. There have been other heavyweight champions before Jack Dempsey. Mm. And they were just recognized as the biggest, strongest boxing champion in the world. That's all.
Jack Dempsey.
But Jack Dempsey captured the zeitgeist. He captured imagination. He inspired people. He had everybody, people who weren't into boxing, had everybody talking about his fights at the very least, and he raised the game. In fact, he became the game. Like I said, states that did not recognize boxing, that would arrest prize fighters for engaging in prize fights, they began legalizing the sport because of the success of Jack Dempsey.
Okay, who else?
Because he was bringing in he was making millions of dollars at a time where like $1 million is like, I don't know, just for inflation, it was like 30 million or something like that. You know what I mean? So somebody like Dempsey was the face of boxing. Somebody like Joe Louis, where he transcends the sport. Okay, where and then fast forward to Muhammad Ali, where he symbolizes something. He symbolizes a new generation. For Joe Louis, he symbolized democracy and the American spirit and the American and world resistance against Hitler's Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and he became a figurehead as America entered World War II. All right, we can do this. And Joe, he would put out statements like, "We're going to win because God is on our side," and that meant something because Joe Louis was saying it. You understand?
Okay,
and people
so
had
Jack
hope,
Dempsey,
Jack
we
Dempsey, we can do this.
Joe Louis,
Right? So
Ali,
and Muhammad Ali, like bigger than the sport, known internationally, but he symbolized like people who were protesting. You know what I mean? From hippies to Black Panthers, right? People who are part of the civil rights movement or the Black Power movement. Okay, they are looking at him as you symbolize our spirit. Okay, that's historically speaking. Okay, that's my idea, my ideal of the face of boxing. Okay.
Okay, so
modern times though it's different.
Modern times things have changed. So modern
it's
times,
the most popular guy who makes the most money for everybody.
Okay,
No,
yeah. So modern times, the face of boxing is the most popular guy.
Yeah.
Pop culture. Who makes the most money? Okay.
Right. So, and I'll give you an example. So since I've been covering the sport, I've had the privilege of covering Mike Tyson fights in Las Vegas. From Mike Tyson, there was Oscar De La Hoya. From Oscar De La Hoya, there was Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, right? I would say those are the faces of boxing. And I guess, Tyson, even though he was past his prime. I'm talking about the late 90s.
Right, yeah, he was past. He way past.
But going to a Mike Tyson fight in Las Vegas was unlike anything you can imagine. It's not like anything. It wasn't even a sporting event. It was like some convention of everybody. Like there's media crews from around the world, from Japan, from Denmark. You know what I mean? Great Britain, everywhere. There's criminals. There's the hip hop world. There's
politicians.
There's dignitaries. It's like people from the fashion world.
Kings, princes.
I remember sitting like in the lobby of the MGM Grand and just watching people come in. You would see somebody somebody looking like Prince Charles, and then right behind him there's like a dude who was at least portraying to be a pimp. You know what I mean? He's got like a mink coat and a hat, and he's got the jewelry, and he's got a big giant bottle of Cristal, and he's walking with a cane, and the women around him are just wearing lace, and you can see right through it, and they're butt naked underneath it, and it's just like, what the fuck? It was like, and then you see, Hollywood, everything, and so it's the same. It wasn't quite like that with De La Hoya, but with De La Hoya, it was like you're at the Latin Grammy. You know what I mean? There's more females, and it's like they're not boxing. It's not like the boxing world, right? It's beyond the boxing world is there. And when you arrive at the airport and you get on your taxi, the first thing the person who picks you up says, what do you think about the fight? Who do you think's going to win? What do you think about Tyson? What do you think about De La Hoya? What do you think about Mayweather? Hey, what about Manny Pacquiao? And they're talking to you about it. They bring it up to you. If you're not the face of boxing, you get in your cab and they say, "What brings you to town?" And I say, I'm here for a fight." And then they say, "Oh, who's fighting?" And then you tell them, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not familiar." And you know what? That happened.
So
That happened this past Thursday when I arrived in Vegas. There was an old white lady, and she said, "Why are you here?" "Business or pleasure?" I said, "Business." "Why are you here?" I said, "I'm here to see. I'm here for the fight." "Who's fighting?" And I said, "Well, they're young guys, but Giovanna Davis and Ryan Garcia." She's like, "Oh, I don't know who they are." And I said, "Well, they're popular. They're popular for a younger generation. You know, it's going to be a big event," which it was. But when I got there to the MGM Grand, and that was Thursday, and I was there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it was crowded, but it wasn't packed. You know what I mean? And you saw everybody from the boxing world, everybody in boxing who covers boxing, who's part of the promotion. They were all there, and they're all talking about the fight. But just your average person walking around the casino wasn't necessarily talking about the fight. And that's the difference. That's how it was with the Tyson fight.
Okay.
That's how it was with De La Hoya. That's how it was with Mayweather. That's how even Pacquiao. That's how it was. Everybody.
So
fever. You know what I mean?
So what fighter, this is my last question. I'm gonna let you go because I know you have to go. And I really thank you so much, Doug, for this. This is
Yeah,
wonderful.
no problem.
What fighter today would you say resembles the closest thing to what Mike Tyson have done, Oscar, Floyd, Manny Pacquiao? What fighter would you say closely resembles that today as face of boxing?
As being a face of boxing?
I'm just saying the closest. I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying the closest. Who would closely resemble that? You know, if you was to, I'm just asking, like who, you know, or would you say no? Or would you say nobody? Nobody. Yeah.
Nobody. Nobody's doing it like those guys. They don't fight enough. I think you got guys who really want to be the best, and they're going out there to do it. You know, young men like Devin Haney who want to be undisputed, and you know, I think we don't have a face of boxing right now. We don't have. I mean, Canelo probably comes the closest in terms of like the box office,
right?
And you know, the money he generates for himself and everybody around him. He's probably the closest, but he really didn't cross over. I mean, he's crossed over to an extent, but he didn't cross over. He's not like, I mean, you know, he's not Julio Cesar Chavez level as far as crossing over. You know what I mean?
What about
Cesar Chavez fight in Vegas was insane. It became Mexico.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know.
What about Gervonta Davis?
I think Davis is on his way. He has the potential to be the face of boxing in America. I think he can be the U.S. Deontay Wilder's still around, and Deontay Wilder is still up there, but Davis has youth on his side.
Mm-hmm.
I think Davis and listen, Garcia, even though Garcia lost that fight, I don't know if Tank Davis does 1 million+ pay-per-view buys fighting anybody else. If now, Coach, if he can have a rematch with Isaac Cruz and do 500 to 600 pay-per-view buys, maybe he is. Maybe Davis is the face of boxing.
Mm-hmm.
But if he needs Garcia to do the numbers that they did, then that means Garcia is also a face of boxing.
Okay.
And if Garcia fights a pay-per-view against whoever, and it only does 200 or 300 pay-per-view buys, which, by the way, isn't bad. But if it only does that, it only goes a certain way, it means Garcia needs Davis.
And vice versa.
So they're both, what I'm saying is they're both the young faces of U.S. boxing right now. And then England has Tyson Fury, or not England, but Britain has Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua as their faces of boxing.
Okay.
Japan has Naoya Inoue
as
their face. Get it?
I got you. So it's nowhere near on the level of Tyson, Oscar, Manny, and Floyd. I get exactly what you're saying.
No.
Doug, thank you so much for taking the time out to do this interview with me. I really appreciate it. I think you answered a lot of questions. It was very, very informative, and I really do appreciate you taking the time out. Thank you so much, Doug.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that
Anytime.
anything else you want to say to the audience, before you go, or anyone who may want to find you on social media?
Follow me on Twitter at Dougie Fischer. Same handle for my Instagram. Go to ringtv.com and subscribe to Ring Magazine. We're coming out with a new app with the May issue, And we're excited about that. We think it's going to be user friendly, and there's going to be a lot of perks to that as far as your access to back issues and that sort of thing.
Okay. All right, Doug.
And affordable.
All right, man. That's important. Dougie Fischer, man, Ring Magazine. Thank you so much, brother, man. I'll give you a round of applause. Doug, thank you, man. I'll call you later.
Anytime, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. I really appreciate that, man. Him taking the time out, because when I first, what you guys don't know is when I spoke to Doug earlier, he told me that he only had like an hour. You know what I mean? So the reason why I was trying to hit all of my points, all of the questions I wanted to ask him, because prior to the interview started, we agreed that we would interview for an hour, and I was trying to get the questions I wanted to get to. But when I asked Doug a question, as you can hear, it was Doug is winded. So you ask Doug a question, and his answer may be a 10-minute answer. And then I get to the second question, his answer may be another 10-minute answer. That's 20 minutes going out of the hour that I was originally thinking that the interview was going to be. Then if I ask him another question, that's another 10-minute answer. You get what I'm saying? So I had to, I wasn't trying to be rude, but you got to understand, he took his time out of his day to answer a lot of questions that I think a lot of fans have answers to now. We understand how their pound for pound list is made. It's basically made on popularity, so to speak, popularity and this and that. It's not today's pound for pound doesn't have a boxing criteria for the most part. So that kind of answered that for me. And it's not necessarily, he said it's based on who you fought for Devin Haney and some other fighters. Cool Boy Step is not there. But then again, for some people who vote, it's not necessarily based on who you fought. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, it seemed like it's kind of all over the place with it. You get what I'm saying? But I only thought that we was going to have an hour. So I'm really trying to get that out there. And that's what you guys don't know. When you have guests on, it ain't like you on a live and you got some niggas on the live arguing for 10, 11, 12 hours about signing the contract, 60, 40, 70, 30, 80, 20, my part of the cash cow. No, it's very different from that. And I just want to let you guys know that. Let's give Dougie Fischer once again a round of applause. Let me drop the phone lines. Phone lines is open, man. Shout out to Mr. I Know Boxing. Hey, okay. For dropping that quarter over. Bam, dubbing your boy.
Hey, Leroy.
Super chat received.
Playtime's over, boy.
He said Canelo has a whole flag, I guess a country behind him, flag behind him. Tank don't even have his own city behind him. You say no shade, just speaking honest truth. Yeah, you know what? What I realize is I'm not here to argue about what a person think. What a person think who's the Mr. I Know Boxing, who a person think is the face of boxing is. I am staying out of that argument because we know what it is now. The criteria is different today than it originally was. The real faces of boxing were guys like Mike Tyson. Well, we know Jack Dempsey, Joe Louis, Ali. They were universally known, transcended the sport, bigger than the sport. And then the next phase was Mike Tyson, Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao. There's no one that I see today that's on that level. So, but I'm not, me personally, I am staying out of that argument. I ain't arguing with nobody, debate with nobody on that. I'm gonna let y'all have that shit. But shout out to Mr. I Know Boxing, man. Salute to you, fam. Yeah, I'm staying out of that, boy. I'm staying out of that right now, boy. Once he told me that they don't even have a boxing criteria, I said, you know what, I'm done. I don't tap that. Shout out to Will. Hey, okay. I'm dropping that quarter over. Bam, dubbing your boy.
Hey, Leroy.
Super chat received.
Playtime's over, boy.
I mean, he said that was a great interview, coach. This answered a lot of my questions. Yeah. I thank Doug for that. I really did thank Doug for that. He said, this is shout out to Doug. What did he say? He said, this is why Santa Quito keep calling me doing the show. He said, Doug, I got Spence Crawford. And it's posted. We say, but we put it up top. Okay, so Spence Crawford is now official, and Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence will be fighting July the 22nd in Vegas. It's done. Let's give both of those guys a round of applause. Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence has officially been announced. They're fighting in Vegas July the 22nd. And I already knew this. Just waiting on an official announcement. It's done. I already knew this, so I gave you guys hints. But you know, I couldn't say anything. Wasn't at liberty to, but it is what it is. So yep, it is what it is. So take it or leave it alone. That's all I can say. Take it or leave it alone. Anyways, shout out to Bless 365. Hey, phone lines over, man. 530-494-9636. Hey, anybody? We got over 500 people in here and less than 400 likes. Anybody that didn't hit the like button, Riley, get them.
Look, fuck you. Fuck the plane you flew in on. Fuck them shoes. Fuck the socks with the bell on it. Fuck them cheap ass cigars. Fuck your yuck mouth teeth. Fuck your hairpiece. Fuck your chocolate. Fuck Guy Ritchie. Fuck Prince William. Fuck the Queen. This is America. My president is black and my Lambo is blue, nigga. Now get the fuck out my hotel room. And if I see you in the street, I'm slapping the shit out of you.
Phone lines open, man. 530-494-9636. UK callers, if you look at the bottom of the screen, the phone number is scrolling at the bottom for US calls as well as UK calls. Please don't be asking nobody what the phone number is. I want the phone number. I want to be able to call the show. What the number is. The number is scrolling at the bottom. If you look, you'll see it. That's it. Take it or leave it alone. It is what it is. So we'll see what's up. We'll see what's up. Shout out to Jonathan Ramirez. He say Spence should not be allowed near a car. Hey, boy, I can agree with you on that, boy. We don't want Spence to be around no cars. No cars at all. No cars. Shout out to Rick. Rick, what's going on, fam? What's going on? What's going on, Rick? Talk to me, fam. Talk to me. Juggernaut say Crawford versus Spence, the argument continues only on pay-per-view. Hey, hey, Juggernaut, you think it should be a pay-per-view argument? Yeah, how many numbers you think they gonna do? As a matter of fact, let's buy the pay-per-view to argue. Yeah, man, I ain't arguing with no number, man. I ain't arguing with nobody about nothing, man. I just can't do it, dog. I can't do it. It's too many casuals. It's just too many casuals. I am not arguing with no casual about nothing. Yeah, whatever you say, man. Okay, that's what you got to say, sir? Yeah, that's what I got to say. Okay, cool. And I'm just keep it moving on. I ain't got the energy. I ain't got the time. I don't. You niggas, hey, some of these niggas about to make me start back smoking weed. I had no start smoking weed. Some of these niggas finna make me start back smoking weed. You know what I mean? I'm like, boy, I might have to start back smoking, boy. Just now, hold on, hey, Food Revolution. Now you see why I was smoking. When I smoke weed, I'm level. When I don't smoke, I am Coach Malachi Williams. Now you see why. You see why. Ain't no bipolar. You guys know I'm bipolar, so no, I'm bipolar. So now that's why. I have no patience and I get irritated very easy. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello. Hey, Coach Jerry.
Jerry from Dumont, talk to me.
I don't know. You might have said it, but I'm gonna ask you because I didn't hear. Why'd you stop smoking weed, Coach? Don't ever turn your back on the Sheba. It's good medicine, bro.
Yeah.
Why'd you stop?
I just, I never really was a weed smoker like that. But what happened was I had an anxiety attack on the show because I work so much. I'm very, very busy. So I'm a busy guy. I work so much. But I just went cold turkey and stopped. But what I realized, I saw that, one day last Friday, a week ago, it was bad. I had some really, really bad withdrawals. Very, very angry, very cranky. Stuff like that. So right now I'm maintaining a little bit. I haven't smoked anything. My homeboy came and got the half ounce I had, so that's gone. I'm just trying to just do without it. But without it, I'm bipolar as well. So without weed, I am really me. With weed, you know what I mean? So someone like me, I probably need to smoke weed because of my temperament. I'm a temperamental individual because of my temperament, and I don't take no shit. So it's like, someone like me, I probably need to be on it, but I'm gonna just try to see how long I can go without it and try to have more self-control without the weed. That's what I'm trying to do.
I feel you. I've been smoking weed for 40 years.
Yeah.
And what I can tell you is I've had a couple episodes during that 40 years where I had anxiety from weed because weed will cause anxiety. pot smokers call it paranoia, but what it technically is anxiety. And sometimes, especially with the strong shit, it'll cause you a little anxiousness. But what I found is the few times I had those anxiety attacks, they were just that nothing happened. I mean, I felt like I couldn't breathe, all the typical stuff but nothing ever happened. And then I talked to another cat buddy of mine, and he told me, he said, man, that's just your byproduct sometimes, especially if you got something else on your mind, I mean, I've been smoking weed a long time, but for the last 20 years, it's been not so much for recreation, but more for medicine.
Okay, cool. I appreciate that, Jerry. I got other calls calling in, so is there anything that you want to hit to right quick before I...
I'll try to be quick.
Yeah.
Devin Haney didn't get on the pound-for-pound list because beating outpointing George Kambosos is not going to get you on the pound-for-pound list. Sorry.
Well, he just said that. He said all of that on the show.
Yeah, he just not. If George was a pound-for-pound guy himself, then Haney probably would have broke the top 10 by beating a pound-for-pound guy like the Lopez did when he beat Loma. But just beating him, who was not a top 5 lightweight, despite that upset that he pulled, that's not going to get you on there. You got to do more than that.
All right.
That's all I got.
All right, Jerry, salute.
All right.
Jerry from Demo, salute. Shout out to David Jones. Okay. Dropping that quote over. Damn, dub on your boy. He say Fagnon say he got offered $20,000 to push an agenda, but he didn't accept it. But says you are being ran by Steve Kim, etc. He said you are pushing an agenda. What say you? I say I don't even know that nigga. That nigga don't know what the fuck he talking about, and I don't give a fuck what the fuck Fagnon say. For all I care, that nigga can walk in front of a semi truck and kill himself. I don't give a fuck what that fuck nigga got to say, or I don't give a fuck about what any hoe ass nigga who follow Fagnon got to say as well. He can eat a dick for all I care and let his daddy fuck him in the ass. Fuck boy. So that's what I got to say about that. Run and tell that nigga that. Tell that nigga that, David. That's what I got to say about that. Tell him to eat a dick. Fuck, boy. Call what's your name when you're calling from?
WCS ATL. What's good with the coach?
WCS, talk to me.
Hey, I was just about to say, if this interview don't make you want to go back to talking about the Knick sacks, I don't know what is. This pound for pound understanding, I think it will more so confuse the casuals all the way up to the hardcore fans, because pretty much what Dougie Fischer said was it's strictly off favoritism. Now, it was some very important points made. Outstanding, interview. But he's when he said it has no criteria, and then it's based off just fighting anybody. You go in there, you can fight anybody. They don't have any freaking resume that stands up to any type of debate. You know what I'm saying? It's the names on there are. It was just a lot of contradiction going on with who's on the pound for pound list. You know what I'm saying? I enjoyed the interview, but as boxing fans, it didn't guide us any closer to knowing why certain people are on the list and why some aren't. It's pretty much, if they like you, they like you. If they don't, they don't. Because if you're going to go off who's fighting contenders and who's the bigger name, I guarantee you, if you want to base that, if you want to use that as a baseline and you go and look at previous names that was on a pound for pound list, it's not going to meet up to what he was using as a margin of entry. It's not going to add up. Mm-hmm. Solid interview though, but it was very confusing when it got to how some of these names are even on the pound for pound list. And shout out to you, asking, you pretty much checked the box on a lot of questions that we was wondering. Mm. You wanted to know how Tank got on the list. What did he do to get on the list? And then you telling me, he beat this person and that person. Well, how did he all of a sudden get on the list by beating Ryan Garcia if Ryan Garcia didn't beat anybody of importance? You know what I'm saying? Tank Davis wasn't on the list last time, but he's on the list now. So I thought that question right there was the most grandest, because it just happened. It just happened. And Ryan he came off a fight with Javier Fortuna. So you pretty much saying he beat Luke Campbell back in 2021? Is that what Dougie trying to tell me? He beat Luke Campbell back in 2021, and that carries forward to Tank Davis, you know, punching a ticket to the pound for pound list. He should have went with something else.
Yeah, that kind of confused me, but the thing is, you know, as you heard, Doug is very winded, and I try to respect the guests that come on because they take their time out. Just to let you know, when we first set the interview up, and shout out to Doug, man, I really appreciate you, brother, for taking the time out. He told me I only had an hour, so just imagine if you're interviewing someone and I'm taking your time into consideration, and I have like 14 questions to ask you, and you know, if you spend 10 minutes answering each question, hey man, your hour's up. I only got to like 10, and I still have 4 or 5 more to ask. You know what I mean? So I was trying to, you get what I'm saying? But he answered.
Yeah, I was hoping. Yeah, I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, that's what it was.
You asked him how did Loma get on there now?
I did. Yeah.
You just didn't return back. You did fire that off. Yeah. You said, well, how did Loma get off that? I was curious. You know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, that's another one. Yeah. How did Loma get on there? What did he do right now to get on the list? Because his last opponents were Richard Comey and Masayoshi Nakatani. So what did Loma do to return back to the list? You just put him on there to appease Devin Haney fight that's coming up. So if Devin Haney wins, which is, you know, probably the favorite, you know, across in some people's eyes, now he has an entry. He has a ticket. He has the golden ticket to be on the pound for pound list because he beat Loma, who y'all just put on the pound for pound list for fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I got to go back and listen to this interview today. I got to go back and listen to it. And guess what? I was writing notes down too. I was taking notes because anytime I do an interview, I take notes. I was taking notes. I was like, okay, that's interesting. This is totally different from what my criteria would be, you know, and all that stuff there. And I did know it's a lot of stuff that he said as related to Face of Boxing. Blood Boxing said this exact same thing yesterday on the show. And he brought some names. A lot of people was clowning Blood and all that stuff there. But the people who was clowning them were casuals who don't know a checkup from official. And I knew that. But the things have changed drastically today. So what I realized is this. This is what I realized. In 2023, from this point forward, I would never in life even get involved in a boxing conversation with anyone who doesn't know the sport and is a casual or is a social media boxing fan. And because it's their understanding of what it is more in line with, hey, this is 2023. It's based on Instagram followers, TikTok. This guy's more popular. He got a bunch of knockouts. Yeah. My fighter got a bunch of knockouts, but he knocked out a bunch of tomato cans. Well, it don't matter, but he knocked them out. This guy over here, he might be undisputed, or this guy may have 3 belts, or this guy may fought tougher guys, but he can't sell. He's not a draw. Don't nobody really like him. So it's a popularity thing. And now it's like, oh, okay, I get it. I get it now. So I'm kind of like, out of the loop, and I want to stay out of the loop. I want to stay out of the loop. But hey, WCS, man, thank you, brother, for taking the time out to call the show, man. I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you, man. Fantastic interview, hot one.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
out.
Yes, sir. World Comeback Sports ATL. Hey, phone lines open, man. 530-494-9636. Any nigga feeling some type of way? 530-494-9636. I'm going to say this again. Any nigga feeling some type of way? 530-494-9636. And if you're from the UK and you feeling some type of way, the UK number is down there as well. Please call the show. I want to hear from you. And if you just want to talk boxing and talk about the interview and stuff like that, that's fine. You can call the show as well. Well, ain't nobody calling the show, so I guess I'll go to a commercial identification. We'll go to a commercial identification, man, and maybe what we'll do, we'll go to a little booster, man, see if we get some water.
I know I'm gonna get this money.
Talking water, 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 water. My bracelet costs about 40 and my necklace costs a quarter. Talking water, 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 water. I go stupid like on Boosie. All this jury got me foolish. All this water, 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 water. All of these diamonds, they bright, so you gon' see me at night. All of this water, 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 water. Now I be triple, triple,
Water, 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 water. When your daughter see this water, she gon' let Boosie record. Them little niggas in the A, they making deals off the wall.
Yeah, man, it is what it is, man. It is what it is, boy. It is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, man. Shit. So, goddamn, I'm going to the fight. I bet the Devin Haney Lomachenko fight. Be at that fight next month, and then Crawford Spence in July. So I'll probably be at that fight too. Be at that fight too. Crawford Spence in July. Gotta be to that one. Shout out to Food Revolution. What you say? She said send a complimentary case to Dougie. He must be parched. Hey man, shout out to Dougie, man. Shout out to Dougie, man. It is what it is. It is what it is. Shout out to Son Ramdo. What's going on, fam? Corey Bradley in the building. Corey Bradley in the building. What's going on, fam? Shout out to Rudolph. Shout out to my brother Marquis. Marquis, what's going on, fam? Marquis, what's going on, fam? Hey, 530-494-9636, man. Shit, motherfucker like they scared to hit the number, man. Y'all call the number, shit. Y'all call the number. Niggas be having so much to say in the chat, but they be scared to hit that motherfucking number, boy. Call them. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, coach? It's the inevitable. D-Block, D-Town, D-City, D-Ville, Baltimore.
D-Block, talk to me, fam.
Already, coach. Man, I love Dougie, man. You know I love Dougie. I mean, he is the main man with Ring Magazine. He spits nothing but facts. So, is there anything that you thought to yourself, like you kind of put yourself back and said, wait a minute, I didn't know y'all thought like that. I mean, did you respect the way the Ring? Do you respect the way the Ring Magazine puts their champions up there and how they have to have? I mean, the main person to have that Ring Magazine is mostly the guy that controls the division, right?
Nah, man, I got to go back and listen to it, man. That ain't what he really said. He gave multiple answers. The thing is, what I gathered from that is they don't have a boxing criteria for who's in the top pound for pound list. It's some may say, hey man, it's who you beat. Then some may say it's the fashion in which you beat certain fighters. Even some may say, yeah, well he knocked out, well, he ain't fought nobody, but everybody he fought a bunch of tomato cans, but he knocked those tomato cans out in spectacular fashion. One guy may be, hey man, this guy's very popular. That's why we're gonna put him on there with a certain audience. So really, there was no like one thing how you can get on the pound for pound list. It's what I learned today is how you originally got on a Ring Magazine pound for pound list. How you originally got on there from a historical standpoint is totally different from the way it is now. Once and I want to thank Dougie, man, so much for taking the time out to come on the show, brother. I really appreciate you. Once he established that and let me know that told me everything I needed to know. I said, you know what? That's when I realized, yeah, I'm tapping out this shit. I'm tapping out. I don't tap out. I'm done. Yeah. I'm done. I'm done. I don't tap out. You got y'all got it, dog. Y'all got it, dog. Y'all got it. I don't tap out.
Yeah. My understanding, coach, always from the Ring Magazine was it's about who you fought, when you fought them, and what age did you fight them, and then like where you were at that moment. You know what I mean? Like I always thought that was the attributes of being in the pound for pound. It's about who you fought. Were they a top 10 fighter? Were they a top, your division? And how many divisions have you gone up? You feel like you fought the best that you can fight. And it's when you fought them, right? I mean, they give you more credit? I thought it was more, they give you more credit when you fight somebody that's close to their prime or still in their prime somehow. And that's what I always thought, because I used to hear Dougie always say that. You know what I mean? So I think something changed. Like you said, man, we're living a new era, new age where I feel like boxing has gone away from its ancestry, which means like who is the real champion is the man who beat the man and who has the belt. I always thought that, coach. I mean, because when you think of Mike Tyson, he went through a tournament in the 80s and he beat everybody. You know what I mean? That's how you consider it. And Muhammad Ali, when he was the champion, I think it was only 2 belts, the WBA or the WBC, if I'm not mistaken. You know, I mean, and for these standards now, I mean, at least I know who are the legitimate guys, or the only way that you could really, and this is what I don't understand. How, I think they have Devin Haney in the top 10, right, Coach?
Top 10 of what?
The Ring magazine?
Nah, Devin Haney's not in the top 10 at all. Nowhere in there.
See, that don't make no sense. That don't make no sense, Coach. That's blasphemy, man. The kid worked his ass off to be. I consider Devin Haney top 10 in the world. You know what I mean? With Shakur Stevenson, even though Shakur isn't undisputed. But you know, it's just really, like you said right now, Coach. It opens up your eyes. I still have a lot of respect for Dougie. But about this fight, about you talking about Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, Coach, I've been working all day. Are you telling me we're actually going to get the fight?
Yeah, it's done. They fighting. I've been knew that the fight was done myself. But I didn't know what date they was fighting. But they fighting in July.
Wow, and you're going to be there? I think everybody's going to try to be there, Coach. That's going to be nice.
Yeah, I'm there, so well.
All right, Coach. Great show. Love your show. Keep it up, man. We getting the momentum, man. I see all these subscribers. They're pumping up. We love it, man. Everybody call in the show. Make it great, man. This is what we talking about. I mean, Coach just gave you Dougie today. And then Monday, you know, it is what it is. Everybody have a good weekend and get ready, because next Saturday I'm getting my tattoo. D-Block, he ain't stunned. He's going to do his thing. He's going to be on Facebook Live. And Tank Davis, people will be happy for a moment. But it's okay, because it'll just be for a moment. Because believe me, like I say, we got youngins coming. Young and Shakur and Devin. And believe me also when I say Ryan will be back, baby. D-Block.
Shout out to D-Block.
D-Block. Fuck him up.
Shout out to D-Block. Shout out to D-Block. 530-494-9636. 530-494-9636. Shout out to my brother Rick Tim. Rick Tim, what's going on, baby boy? Rick, what's going on, fam? What's happening, fam? What's happening? Rick, what's going on? Shout out to Green Eyes P. Shout out to Food Revolution, Bless 365. I see Keena in the building. Nelly Content. Lynn in the building. L.E.N. Some rando. My brother Marquis, the Boston scientist. It is what it is, man. Phone lines open, man. 530-494-9636. Shout out to Ruben Allen for dropping that quarter of a bam dub on your boy.
Hey, Leroy.
Super chat received.
Playtime's over, boy.
Ruben said, thank you for your great content. He say, great job today. Y'all appreciate that, fam. And we got some more interviews lined up next week, too. I ain't playing with these niggas. I'm finna start head cracking these niggas. You know what I mean? I ain't playing with them. I ain't playing with these niggas at all. Too many. You know what? No, I mean, whoo, boy, I ain't gonna say it, but I got a mouth on me, boy. I'm telling you, boy, I ain't got no filter, boy, when it comes to these whole ass niggas. I'm gonna try to, you know, I'll call him. What's your name? Where you calling from? Hold on. Sorry about that. Caller, what's your name when you calling from?
Nah, it's Casino Life Prayer, man. I was just saying, call them out. But nah, this Casino Life Prayer from Atlanta.
Casino, talk to me, fam.
Man, hey, man, I just got educated on some shit, but I had no idea that the Ring magazine was over 100 years old and shit. Like,
yeah,
I didn't know none of that. But I wanted to ask you, like, when you coming up with like who you gonna get on the show, like, because I feel like that was genius, but I ain't never seen nobody bring up like a nigga like that. Like what made you reach out to him?
Shit, just basically like my channel here, man. Like this channel here, we I have a boxing criteria. We have commandments over here. So over here is Casino. What I try to do, brothers, I try to keep it boxing, and I try to make this show very educational. But at the same time, I try to keep it entertaining at the same time. And what I notice is a lot of these channels that's out there, they don't have boxing criterias. A lot of them, they have been compromised. A lot of them are part of cliques and crews and yada 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 and double standards and hypocrisies. So what I'm trying to do with my channel is, the questions that I'm a marketer. So the questions that I see people having debates on and talking about online, I try to get some of those key people that can get on the show and answer some questions. Not necessarily for the social media boxing fans, but to validate a lot of things from yeah, but to validate a lot of things from from just boxing all around in general, boxing fans, because this podcast these videos are gonna be out here forever. So someone 5-10 years later on down the line who's trying to learn something about the history of the sport, trying to come up with a criteria for how they judge things, come up with certain decisions, they may hear this interview or hear another interview and be like, oh, okay, this is where this came from, and yada, yada, yada. So what I try to do, I just try to make, educate and inform and stuff like that. So I thought, hey, let me reach out to Ring.
Now,
Let me reach out to Ring because everybody is always arguing and debating about Ring Magazine's pound for pound, or they're arguing debate about ESPN's pound for pound. And I've always said that it's subjective to them. And I said that I always wanted to know, I wonder what is their criteria for who and how they put people on the top 10. So I wanted to know that because I was assuming that it was a boxing criteria, and I learned that they don't have a boxing criteria. So once I learned that, now it's like I'm not going to be online arguing debate. I ain't none of that shit, because now I know. Oh, okay. And I asked him, is it different from the way it was historically until now? And in this time, he said, yeah, it's totally different now. Now it's just based on, hell, man, if you know how to Dougie, you can get on the pound for pound list. Shit, if your baby mama bow-legged, you can get on the pound for pound list. If your auntie know how to do the one leg up, you can get on the pound for pound list. If your sister know how to do on the Crown Heights, what is it, the Crown Heights strut out of B-more, you can get on the pound for pound list. So it ain't based on that boxing, really. You know what I mean? So once I confirm that, it's like, oh, okay, cool.
Well, shit, man, I appreciate what you're doing, bro, because, like, it ain't many places you can go and get no education like that straight from the source. Like, you always, you go get the source, bro. Like, you got this motherfucking source on this motherfucker. You ain't have to sit through an argument between you and another nigga who don't know what the hell they talking about.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you got straight to the point. You ask good questions, and shit, I'm educated. Like, I ain't know none of that about Ring Magazine. Like,
yeah.
So, yeah, I appreciate what you're doing, bro.
Man, shout out to my brother Casino, man. ATL, stand up. ATL, man. Yeah, man, right now, they're like shit, I appreciate Doug a lot. I appreciate him a lot. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, man, it's Joe Chill, calling from Atlanta.
Calling from Atlanta. I didn't get your name, but I know you're calling from Atlanta. But go ahead.
Yeah. This is Joe Chill. I'll be in your chat.
Joe Chill?
Hey, first of all, yeah.
Okay.
Hey, man, I love your show, man. Great interview. I'm glad you asked a lot of tough questions. So the thing I really just wanted to, the thing I really wanted to say is, with this whole pound for pound thing, everybody wants somebody to like rub their head and tell them they the best.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's just not real. That's not real life. Like, we look at Muhammad Ali and we say, oh, we love him. But when he was Muhammad Ali, he wasn't loved. He was hated. So a lot of these guys, I feel like they just got to get over it, and they just got to keep fighting and know that their story is going to be written after they're done. Like, we don't know what's going to happen right now. And like, that's why I feel like a lot of them still haven't really, like you said, there's no face of boxing. A lot of them feel like they arrived, and I feel like, they just got to keep fighting. It's not up to them. People just gonna say what they want to say.
Yeah, and you know what? I think for every fighter who might listen to this interview and heard this podcast, I want you fighters out there to understand something. This is why you should never always try to seek to be validated by other people. You get what I'm saying? And this is why I said that when Devin Haney was upset that, and I said, I did a show on this, he was upset that Ring did not put him in the top 10 pound for pound. And I said that, well, especially for the black fighters, and I'm going to preface this. If you feel that this system is racist against blacks and they treat the black fighters differently, and I'm not saying that trying to throw anybody under the bus or nothing like that, but I'm just saying, if you felt that way, how can you feel that the system is unfair? This is for the people who participate in the Victim Olympics. How can you say that the system is unfair in one breath, but yet you seek to be validated by that very same system that you complain about? Why are you trying to seek validation from the ESPNs or even the Rings or the whatever? Like, why are you trying to seek validation from the very same system that you feel has something against people who look like you or look like whoever? So I don't give a fuck. I'm not trying to seek validation from no nigga. No nigga, no cracker, no Hispanic, none. I don't give a damn who it is. I don't give a fuck. So I'm not trying to seek validation from other people. You fighters need to stop trying to seek validation from these different boxing outlets. Validate your goddamn self. It's a new era. You just heard on here, these people they ain't really got no boxing criteria. And I just thank God that, you know, Dougie came over here because he said it's 20 people. And 20 people, the one guy may have one criteria, he vote one way. Another guy may have another criteria, he vote one way. Another guy may have another criteria, and you getting all bent out of shape. Oh man, you know I did this. Why they ain't got me on there? Well, you just heard today why you ain't on there. And that's all I gotta say.
Coach.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, and one last thing. I remember Marvin Hagler when I saw the documentary when he was fighting Tommy Hearns. He thought he was gonna, I think it was Hearns, but he thought he was gonna lose. He thought they was gonna take it from him. And he said, they just don't respect me. So he went out there and he had to tear him apart. So it was like, let that fuel you. Like, greatness doesn't come from everybody fucking shaking your hand and slapping your back. It comes from adversity.
Yeah.
So that's all these boys gotta do. They just gotta this is it. This is real life, not whatever else you heard.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's all I had to say, Coach, man. Thanks for listening to me. Keep up the show. God bless.
Yeah, shout out to Joe Till, ATL, man. ATL represent, man. Stand up, man. ATL, stand up, man. You get what I'm saying? Like, you know, like, why are we gonna sit here and argue about pound for pound, like what somebody else's pound for pound is? It's a mute point. This show was so educational, and I'm so glad that Doug got to that. Shout out to Jackie Hernandez. Dropping that quote over. Bam, dubbing your boy.
Hey, Leroy.
Super chat received.
Playtime's over, boy.
I'm done. I'm tapped out. I'm Coach Malachi Williams is done. I can promise you that. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, Coach? Quentin Gilliam out of Baltimore.
Quentin from B-More. Talk to me, fam.
Man, you had that boy on the ropes, man. When he wasn't filibustering, he was humming and and explaining and all types of stuff, man. You know. But I don't want to throw any conspiracy into the mix, but he said that nobody on the panel took money. But y'all know, everybody knows you can give other things than money, trips and, you know, tickets, you know, all types of gifts or whatever like that. So it ain't just money. Politicians get away with a lot of that stuff too. They don't take cash or checks, but they, you know, take trips and, you know, properties and everything and like that. So, you know, maybe that's the situation with that too.
Yeah.
But you really got him when you said, oh, so why is Ryan Garcia on that? And then he
Yeah, Quentin, your phone hung up. But shout out to Jackie Hernandez. Salute to Quentin, man.
Down from the bar, there's a platform stage. People pimping, sharp as razor blades.
The Quentin, man. Like, yeah, man, like, y'all study these interviews, study these questions and answers and stuff like that, man, because I like to ask the questions that the people want to hear. And again, I'm very thankful that Dougie came on here, man, and he answered a lot. He really did. And I'm very thankful for that. But yeah, man, I mean, and so if you're an old school cat, guess what? You got your answer. If you're a casual and a new school cat, guess what? You got your answer. You know what I mean? You got your answer. You get what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But yeah, I got you, Quinn. You say the storm messed up your phone. I got you. But the answer is, so like me personally, like from this, like I'm not gonna be arguing and debating about anything. I'm not the arguing and debating type of nigga anyways. I'm the type of guy, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. Look, man, this the way I see it. That's the way you see it. We're just gonna agree to disagree, and that's it. Some niggas wanna argue and tongue wrestle and stuff like that. I don't have a WWF championship better tongue wrestler. I'm not finna tongue wrestle with a nigga because I don't have the patience. I just don't. Shout out to, I don't even know how to pronounce your name, but shout out to Hendrix. I'm dropping that quote over. Bam, dubbing your boy.
Hey, Leroy.
Super chat received.
Playtime's over, boy.
He said, Coach, is this list even? He said, is this list even of any significance with the criteria that don't really pertain to boxing? When you say is this list, what list are you talking about? What when you say is this list? What list are you talking about? Like my list pertains to boxing. And my list is subjective to me based on how I was taught and raised and how I came up in the sport, how it used to be. My list is more traditional, and I'm not conforming my list for what goes on today. You get what I'm saying? So somebody got to hold the line. I'm going to continue to hold the line myself. So I don't know which list you're talking about, but if you're talking about today's list, are you talking about pound for pound list? Yeah, well, everybody has a different pound for pound list. So when you say this list, which list are you talking about? Are you talking about Ring's pound for pound list? Are you talking about your pound for pound list? Are you talking about another person's pound for pound list? Like, which one are you talking about? Are you talking about the Ring? The Ring is it's all over the place, fam. The Ring is all over the place. It ain't really got nothing to do with boxing, from what I gather. You get what I'm saying? It ain't really got nothing to do with boxing. It depends. It depends on who the voter is. See, what I gathered is there's no overall consensus to who goes on why a person should go on the pound for pound list. Once you tell me there's no overall consensus, like, hey, this is the criteria that we all can agree upon. What I learned from this interview is no one agrees upon a certain criteria. There is no certain criteria. If you got 20 people that's voting, one guy may have one criteria. One guy criteria may be your baby mama got to be bow-legged. Another guy criteria may be you got to have a lot of TikTok subscribers and popular. Another guy criteria may be you got to know how to put butts in seats. Another guy criteria may be it's who you fought. Competition matters. Another guy criteria may be, well, you ain't fought nobody. You fought a bunch of Joe Blows and tomato cans, but you knocked them all out. Another guy criteria may be you got to have a gold tooth in the front of your mouth. Another guy criteria may be you got to be a part of the alphabet boys. Another guy criteria may be you got to be a whole nigga. Another guy criteria may be you gotta know how to shoot dice with Shawty Big Nuts. Another guy criteria may be, you get what I'm saying? So, and whoever have the most votes on their particular criteria, that's who gonna go on the list. Once I understood that, that's what I got out of it. I say, yeah, I don't tap out. I don't throw my hands up. I'm done. Shout out to Rick. He said, hey, Will. He said we have a showdown out here every Friday. He said on Black Talk Radio. He say in today's bout is Isaac Brothers versus the OJs. He say we would get your pick. Isaac Brothers versus the OJs? Oh, that's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. That's a tough one, man. Both of them are old school, had classics. That's a tough one, fam. Isaac Brothers versus the OJ, that's a tough one, man. That's, that's a tough one there, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. That's a tough one, Rick. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Knox Bailey from Bridgeport, Connecticut. What up?
Bridgeport, Connecticut. What's your name is?
Knox Bailey.
Knox. Okay, Knox Million. Talk to me.
Hey, what up, man? Man, it was a hell of a show today, man. Props to you, man. It's just like I don't know how to support this system, man, anymore. I feel violated by the sport, man. It's like almost like watching wrestling now, man. I don't even know how to follow a fighter anymore, man. It's true what you said, man. Everyone has a different criteria now, and
yeah.
Man,
the thing is, me, I'm an old school guy, so I never conform to new school ways. I never let the new school or what's going on today control the narrative. I would never do that. You know what I mean? Never in life. Because the new school shit, it eventually it'll go back to the way it originally was later on down the line. You know what I mean? So but yeah, I'm just saying for me, it's subjective to the individual. I always say that on here, and it's really not a big deal. There's nothing to get upset about, mad about. Some people, nothing to get in an argument about. I'm not going to argue about it because I get it now. I get it. I'm just not going to participate in it myself. You get what I'm saying? That's just where I'm at with.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel the same way, man. That was a hell of an interview, though. I really learned a lot of shit today from this bullshit new system, man. Like, I don't even know what to call this. I'm to the point that I was like, shit, for that, I just started fucking buying pay-per-views for WWE now.
Yeah,
better.
I'm not going to lie to you. I really was disappointed because I looked at I looked at. I was disappointed, to be honest with you. I was disappointed. The ring today is different from where it was before. So I was really disappointed, to be honest with you. You know, so but it is what it is. It is what it is. I get it. I get it. I really do.
I get it. You did ask him too about how come Devin Haney has the Ring magazine, but he's not on the. So I was like, when he answered that, man, but he prolonged that answer too. So you had him, man. Like you was asking some really good questions, man. But props to you, man. I love your show, and God bless you. Have a good weekend, man.
Yeah, man.
I'll keep watching you, man.
Yeah, shout out to Knox Million,
All
man.
right,
Bridgeport, Connecticut, salute. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is, man. So, you know, it is what it is. I ain't, you know, I was like, damn, you know, I was disappointed because it's the Ring. It's like, man, it's the Ring. When the Ring saying this, I'm like, bro, the Ring is saying this. You know what I mean? I mean, the Ring is saying this. God damn. I wasn't expecting that from the Ring. You know, I expected from, you know, I expected from a modern day boxing fan, you know, but I wasn't expecting it from the Ring. I'm like, damn, the Ring? God damn. You know, oh Lord have mercy. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Cole, what's going on, man? It's Casino Life Prayer. I wanted to ask you one more question and say one thing.
Go ahead, fine.
All right. Well, the thing I want to say is maybe this interview, because I like he was kind of getting like your questions were hitting so hard. Maybe he'd go back and watch this shit and like maybe those 20 people, like maybe them 20 people on the panel, maybe they'll come back and watch this shit and see how crazy this shit sounds. You know what I'm saying? And maybe you might have helped fix that shit. Like, I mean, I don't know what might happen in the future, but like, there's no way you can listen to that interview and listen. I don't see how you can hear yourself saying all that shit and not feel kind of crazy and shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, so maybe they might go back and look at that shit. I don't know. I mean, but that's all I had to say about that. But I wanted to ask you, what's your pound for pound list?
Yeah, I ain't, man. I haven't even put one together, to be honest with you. And I haven't put one together, Casino. But I will tell you this, you know, if I was to put together a pound for pound list, it's going to be based on who you fought. It's going to be based on who you fought. Okay. The level of competition and stuff like that. Who you fought. It's not going to be based on whether you put butts in seats, whether you have ice, how many social media followers you have. It ain't going to be based on that. My stuff is going to be based on traditionally the old school way, how it was when Ring first started. That's how my criteria is going to be. And that criteria is going to be totally different from what everybody else has. You get what I'm saying? So I know that for a fact.
Yeah. All right, I just wanted to see what it was, but see, I'll be looking out for whenever if you put one together, I'll be checking it out.
Okay, all right. Yeah, salute, man. Shout out to my brothers. ATL, stand up. Yeah, yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, I mean, so it is what it is. Hey, shout out to Marquis. What's going on, fam? What's going on? What's going on, fam? Yeah, so let me see what's going on. Everybody telling me. Got another call calling in, guys. Got another call calling in. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? Hold on. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? Hold on, guys. Hold on. All right. Caller ain't say nothing. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
I'm from Philadelphia. My name is Fahim.
Saheem from Philadelphia. Talk to me.
Okay. First of all, I think you might have a different opinion about Ring Magazine in the past. I'm 68 years old, and I remember Ring Magazine, Boxing Illustrated, and KO Magazine. Now, what I recall was KO Magazine was a far better magazine for boxers because what they did was they interviewed the boxers and they printed what they said. Ring Magazine interviewed them and decided that they would tell you what they believed they said or how, you know, they would change. They wouldn't print the exact interview. They would critique the interview. They would say, he said A, but I think he meant B, you know, that type of stuff. So I never really had a whole lot of respect
for Ring magazine because of that. Boxing Illustrated was so magazine, but KO was the one that was more friendly to the boxers, what I recall. Second of all, pound to pound, when they first came up with this decision to have a so-called pound to pound, it was designed, in my opinion, as what I remember right, was it was designed to give shine to the lighter weight division. Because at that time, heavyweight meant everything. If you was the heavyweight champion, you was king of the mountain. So what they would do was say, well, if this guy at 140 was 200 pounds like him, could he beat him? That's when it first started off. It wasn't meant to bring somebody, like pound for pound the best. It just meant to give some shine to the lighter weight division. Now it's been totally corrupted. And as you said, the way it's always been an opinion, which means that it has no real weight and nobody should give it that much weight. I like oranges, you like grapes. Oh, okay. So what's the difference? But Ring magazine, and then they start giving out belts. That was a joke, in my opinion, because, if you don't, well, I'm jumping all over the place. Let me come back.
Yes, sir.
When he said there was nobody in the 20 of the 20 panels that had anything to do with a promotion and things of that nature. So what I was curious was, what are these 20 people? Who are they? Are they, just 20 people he picked up off of the street? Hello?
Yeah, I see. Hey.
They need to be trainers. You need to have trainers, coaches, people of that nature that know the sport. Not just people who are well written. People who can write well, because that's what Ring magazine was. It was a magazine. Like I said, I rarely ever seen an interview complete, but every month. Go back. Have you ever seen KO magazine?
Yeah, I remember KO magazine.
And do you remember them interviewing the fighters?
Yeah, I remember.
Okay. Well, that's, to me, if boxing ain't going to be about the fighters, then what it's about?
Yeah, I got you. Shout out to Saeed for Philly, man. Salute, fam. Thank you for calling the show, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Damien from Baltimore.
Damien from Baltimore. Damien, hold on, my brother. Don't hang up. Don't hang up, Damien. Don't hang up.
I said, yeah, man, 40 minutes.
Shout out to Alan Maddox. Shout out to Alan Maddox for dropping the $2 super chat. Isaac brother versus OJ's 50-50 A-side, coach. Okay. All right, Alan. Damien, talk to me, fam.
Coach, I don't understand why everybody get there. I've always said this, but I don't understand why, just sometimes when you're looking at the pound for pound list, both of them, I always thought they were pretty subjective. And so it never really held a bunch of weight with me. And I never understood why people want to sit there and, as Coach would say, tongue wrestle about somebody's opinion. So I felt like he answered the questions very well. There's no way you can have consistency if you don't have a criteria, is what people are missing. You have to have a criteria to establish consistency. So, of course, it's going to sound crazy if you say, well, why Ryan's on the list? And he's going to tell you something about something that happened in 21 and then tell you, well, Tank's on the list because this, that, and the third. But you got mad when Tank fought Rolly and took him off the list. I mean, it's definitely a bunch of guys at the barbershop sipping on some yak, coming up with a list, and everybody got their panties a bunch over it. I'm confused.
Yeah. It is what it is. It's really nothing to get upset about now. I'm just glad that Doug brought some clarity.
But guess what?
He brought some clarity. I'm glad he brought clarity to it.
Guess what? At the end of the interview, what did he say? I don't understand why people. He basically said what I just said. I don't understand why people get their panties in a bunch. He basically said that at the end of the interview.
Yeah, he said that.
But that's all I want. Tell Casino stop taking up all the time, too. He can't call 3 or 4 times.
Hey, man, that's my brother, man. Young brother from ATL Casino like Fred. That's my dog, man. I fuss with y'all, you and him, man, and Rick, and everybody in the chat, man. Everybody in the chat. You know how it is, man. We family, bro. We family.
Yeah. That's what's up. Hey, man, I just had to call in. Hey, y'all have a good Friday, chat.
Yes, sir. It is what it is. Shout out to my main man, Damien from B-More, man. Salute. Yeah, man, 530-494-9636. 530-494-9636. UK number 4420-3769-8745. Coach Malachi Williams is not hard to find. You can call me, contact me at that number. You can call me before the show start. You can call me after the show start. You can call me during the show. I am here. And and this is a message for anybody who feels some type of way. Nobody in the chat. If anybody feels some type of way, please call me. This is the Call Coach Malachi Williams hotline. 530-494-9636. Get that shit off your chest. Please do. Shout out to my sister. Shout out to my sister, Food Revolution. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
DC.
DC, where you calling from?
Mark is calling from DC.
Mark is calling from DC. Talk to me.
Yeah, so I heard the previous caller from Baltimore. Man, listen, pound for pound does have a criteria. The criteria was they was trying to determine the skill set of fighters that wasn't heavyweights. Heavyweights don't belong on this list according to the list as it came out, as it was intended. The problem with people that they panties in a bunch is because if you're in the amateurs, you beat the number 2 guy, you either become the number 2 guy, or you become the number 1 guy. It's understood how you move up through the boxing rankings.
Yes, sir.
I'm number 10. I beat the 9 guy. I'm the 9 guy now. It's very clear and it's a lot of clarity. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you get in the pro boxing, you beat the number 2 guy, but you might not even be ranked in another organization. You might beat the number 2 WBC dude, but then you might not even be ranked in the IBF. And then you find out it's not because they rank in the top fighters. They ranking all these other criteria, whether they like your promoter, whether you giving them money. It's almost like payola for the radio. It's like, yo, you might be a dope artist, but if you ain't paying the DJ to pay your shit, your girl will be walking around playing some other dude's stuff. You know what I'm saying? Your girl be walking around playing this other dude's stuff. You be like, it's trash. You be like, you a hater. I was like, nah, I ain't no hater. That nigga need to play my shit. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Marcus, boy, you hit the nail right on the head, dog. Hey, you know what? Hey, when we bro, like this interview brought so much clarity. I was like, I get it now, dog. I get it.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So when Devin Haney not on the list, what you really supposed to be asking yourself, if you take his commiserate power, his commiserate speed, his commiserate advantages, and put it against another dude, will his style beat another dude? And for 29, 30 fights right now, just within his weight classes, we say we don't really see who can beat him. We see maybe 2 or 3 other dudes. The question is in their head, can Shakur or Tank beat him? But ain't nobody running around like, no, Josh Taylor just gonna do something with Devin Haney. Ain't nobody walking around like Regis might be there. We don't know, because Regis could be a dude that once you box his eyes off, they nullify him. You see what I'm saying? So the pound for pound says, man, okay, if we put this style up against, if we put Terrence Crawford up against Canelo and weight things even, whose style will come across? We know that Terrence Crawford outboxing because we just seen Bivol do it, and I believe Crawford's a better boxer than Bivol. So that's how the criteria is supposed to go. It's supposed to eliminate the heavyweights. Usyk not supposed to be on the list. If Usyk was a cruiserweight, he could be on the list. But the idea is that a heavyweight can end the fight with one punch. Took that criteria off. We always looked at the heavyweight champion, especially when I was coming up, as the baddest man in the world was the heavyweight champion. I don't care how good the welterweight champion, middleweight, the baddest man in the world, the nigga who could beat your father was the heavyweight champion of the world, right? So they was like, but damn, how do we get credit to the other fighters and their skill set? And that's how they came up with the pound for pound list. And everybody that wants to skew it and be like, oh, resume and all this other stuff, man, resume cool and everything, but if I put Riddick Bowe in front of you, who resume wasn't that good, what did he do against Holyfield, who had an immaculate resume? You see what I'm saying? So they want to incorporate stuff that's not really what it's about. It's about, if I took your style and matched it evenly, when I say evenly, not bring your power there, I'm saying your power is commensurate to the weight that we meet y'all at, would your power, would your style beat his style? And the answer, that's how the answer is supposed to be coming across. And anybody who tells me that Mel Charlo, Devin Haney, Shakur, and all these dudes, and Earl, and Terrence Crawford is not in the top 5. You think any weight beats any of those dudes that they the same weight? These niggas smoke that gold drug, that go-go drug. You know what I'm saying? They got the best dope out. He can't beat none of them dudes, not with his style. You know what I'm saying? Because I seen Nonito Donet almost really do something with him in their first fight. And that's not to knock Nonito. Nonito a really good fighter. But at that point in his career, he wasn't no pound-for-pound fighter. You mean to tell me you take a fresh Cool Boy Steph, or you take a Terrence Crawford at 35, you bring anyway to style to 35, man, he wipes him. So hopefully that's for me. That's how I was brought up, looking at the pound for pound list. And so it makes no sense that they don't have the fighters and Devin, those type of dudes on there, because they style is hard to beat no matter where you at.
All right, man. Shout out to Marcus from DC, man. Thank you for calling, brother. Salute, fam. DC, stand up. DC, stand up. DC, stand up. You know, again, guys, it's subjective. It's subjective to the individual. You know, so it is what it is, subjective to the individual now. My thing is, this is my thing. My thing is, I just wanted that. I wanted to be a boxing criteria. Shout out to Quentin, man. Hey, okay. For dropping that half for bam, doubling your boy.
Hey, Leroy.
Super chat received.
Playtime's over, boy.
He said for ring belt, no criteria or consistency equals no value. Okay. Shout out to Quinn, man. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
It's Damien calling back.
Damien calling back. Talk to me, fam.
I'm taking the note from Casino today. But listen, did the guy, did he not hear what I said? The first thing I said was they have no consistency, no criteria. Therefore, you can't get anything concrete.
Yeah.
Did he miss that part? That was the first thing I said.
Yeah, no.
I understand. I'm old school. I understand fully how it started, why it started. I get it. Sugar Ray Robinson, I get it. I know why they started it. But I'm talking about right now in 2023. Coach, you hold the line. I'm behind you on the line, but I'm definitely with you. I ain't arguing this shit with nobody because people don't make no sense. So I can't argue with nobody that don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't argue with if you don't have a foundation, meaning a boxing criteria. I mean, we got to get a baseline before we even figure out where we're going.
Now, you know, both of y'all, I think both of y'all said the same thing. I think that's what he was saying. Both y'all, both y'all saying the same thing, but you was talking about as it relates to what's going on in today's time.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying right now, you can't get it. It's going to look crazy. I mean, even though I thought he had a good argument when he said about Kambosos, but the fact still remains that he's undisputed. So how can he be undisputed and have your belt and not be on the list? That's insanity.
Yeah. You're right.
That is total insanity. That's all I want, man. He got me raising my voice and everything.
It should be popular for popular list. Hey, shout out to David. Salute, fam. He say facts. Sound like D-Block. He sound like D-Block. He say facts. He say facts. Hey, that what he do with me saying online arguing? Facts. You know, facts. Why are you over here, my nigga? Facts. You know what you do, but they be killing me with that deal, boy. Anyways, hey, what to say, Marquis? He said, I don't see how you can hate from outside of the club. You can't even get Hey, Marquis say, I don't see how can you hate outside the club? My nigga, you can't even get in. Like, why? You hating outside the club? Hey, you in the club, you jigging, you doing the two-step, with your girl. Now you looking out the window, and the nigga mad. Yeah, nigga, come outside. You out there jigging. You like, damn, this nigga hate, dog. What you mad about, dog? Yeah, nigga, you better be like, I can't get in. Hey, just imagine. You in the club, you jigging, you by the window. Yeah, nigga, come on outside, dog. I swear to God, nigga, come outside. Nigga, just mad. How you hating outside the club, dog? You can't pay the $20, $25 couple fee to get in. Yeah, this ladies' night, dog. You ain't that jigging doing that thing. Yeah, dog. Yeah, hold that nigga, come outside, nigga. Yeah, you better not come outside, boy. Yeah, I saw you pulling up in that Rolls Royce, or I saw you pulling up in that brand new Audi. Yeah, boy, come outside, bro. Like, you hating outside the club, like. Okay, listen, the club closed at like 2, 3 o'clock. Just sit right there, wait a little bit. We gonna be coming out. Yeah, and it's you in the club juking. It's like 10:30. The club don't close. The club don't close at like 2. This nigga hate for the whole 5 hours. Yeah, nigga. Yeah, nigga.
True.
Hey, you dancing with a bad tenderoni? Are you a tenderoni? You dancing with your man? You got your man in there. He got some good cologne on. Y'all jigging. Hey, shout out to Tay Hill. Hey, okay. Dropping that half. Bam, double your boy.
Hey, Leroy.
Super chat received.
Playtime's over, boy.
He said, salute, coach. He said, show been on fire. If that Crawford versus Spence fight, if that Crawford versus Spence date holds up, I said, we get that. And the New Wave versus Fulton in 3 days apart. He said that's a big win for boxing. Yeah, man, you know, I mean, it is what it is, man. It is what it is, man. It is what it is, man. I just, you know, like from what I've learned from the beginning when I went, you know what I mean? From what I've learned, when I went out that way, that fight was, you know, pretty much done. So, just waiting on the announcement. So it is what it is. But we'll see, man. We'll see. It is what it is, man. I ain't even, you know, I ain't getting excited. I ain't doing the two-throw, the butterfly, the one leg up. Well, I ain't none of that, dog. Like right now, dog. Hey, Tay Hill, I'm just exhausted. I'm like, hey, Ray Tay, right now, I'm just exhausted.
Down from the bar, there's a platform stage. People pimping, sharp as razor blades.
I'm just exhausted. I just ain't got, you know, I ain't got no time. Shout out to Solo Dolo. Hey, okay. Dropping that half for bam, double your boy.
Hey, Leroy.
Super chat received.
Playtime's over, boy.
He said, I'm tired of him decking me. He ain't fought nobody. I'm still in the parking lot. Hey, you know what? Hey, check this out. Now, I am the #1 contender. I'm tired, listen, I'm the #1 contender. I'm tired of James the Poodle, Grim Reaper, whatever you want to call himself, decking me. I'm tired of seeing him ride around in 8 Rolls Royces. He ain't fought nobody. I'm still in the bro hand.
Now, I am the #1 contender. I'm tired of James the Poodle, Grim Reaper, whatever you want to call himself, ducking me. All right, I'm tired of man driving around town in 8 Rolls Royces. He ain't fought nobody. I'm still in the bro hand.
Well, for all of the tenderonis out there, because today is Tenderoni Friday, for all of the tenderonis out there, if you're looking for a real man, I got a real man for you.
Hey, woman. Listen here. Since your old man ain't got no heart, maybe you'd like to see a real man. I bet you stay up late every night dreaming you had a real man, don't you? I tell you what, bring your pretty little self over to my apartment tonight, and I'll show you a real man.
Hey, man, shout out to man. We, you know, Coach Malachi Williams, True Media Today USA Boxing. We are the official podcast for Team Freeway Ricky Ross, man. That's my brother, Team Freeway Rick. That's my brother, man. We connected. I'm connected to some powerful people now. So things are going very, very well, man. We're doing real good, man. Relationships, you know, this thing is about relationships. So I really appreciate everybody, man. Much love to everybody in the chat, man. Y'all my family. I look at y'all my family. But I ain't playing with these niggas. I ain't playing with these niggas, man. I drop my phone number on Twitter, and I drop it here every goddamn day. And, you know, it is what it is, man. So, fuck them. You know what I mean? It's cool when they do it. It's a problem when I do it. Fuck them. You get what I'm saying?
What's my name?
My name is nobody, and I don't live nowhere, and I don't know nothing. I don't know because I know that you gon' tell God on Jesus, kiss a Judas, silver pieces, monkeys acting in the monkey show. Gangsta monster killer, silverback. Where is your rap sheet that you never explains? Moving fast, thinking slow. Dummy clown, silly Billy, need a hug. Thugs on drugs, monkeys acting in the monkey show.
It is what it is.
But this bum been taking the easy matches. Fight another bum.
Man, it is what it is, man. And guess what, though, man? You know, so we try to keep it boxing. It is what it is, and you know, for what I'm learning, shit, boy, hey, to find a real boxing YouTube channel, boy, we like dinosaurs today. We are like dinosaurs. You feel me?
Don't ever forget, when I found you, you was strung out on coke. When I found you, you was like a big house, contemplating about killing yourself. So don't you ever forget who brought you to big time boxing. I drugged you back. I brought you back. I provided food and put food on your table for your family to eat. And I'm doing it for the second time. So don't you ever forget that.
Yeah, man, it is what it is, man. We gonna keep bringing that heat, man. I'm gonna keep my foot I'm gonna keep my foot on these niggas' neck out here, man. I'm gonna keep my foot on their neck. You get what I'm saying? You know, I'm team fuck the other side. I don't give a fuck about none of these niggas. I don't, bro. Ain't but a handful of them I rock with anyways. And the rest of them, fuck them. I mean that there. Niggas ain't gotta like it, but they gonna respect it. You feel me?
Nigga, when my name come up, respect it. Let's go. Stop playing with my fucking name. All three of y'all, stop playing with my name. I ain't gonna say it no more. Put some respect on my name.
And I ain't pleading no motherfucker.
Plead the fifth. Plead the fifth. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anything you say, 5. Go ahead, ask me a question. Did you?
Man, we did this for the hood today. We did this for the hood, Rick. Hey, Rick, we did this for the hood.
I want to thank the whole hood who came out here. I love y'all. I did this for the hood. Y'all know I beat that boy.
And you know, we tell them time and time again, we run these niggas off the block, boy. If niggas feeling some type of way, like they watch us every day. They hate a nigga, but they watch a nigga every day. But this what I tell them.
Don't ever come by here. Okay?
Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. They gonna keep coming though. You know, they gonna keep coming. They gonna have to. They damn. I don't blame them no shit. If I was them, I'll come too. Shout out to Will. For dropping that quarter over. Bam, dubbing your boy.
Hey, Leroy.
Super chat received.
Playtime's over, boy.
Hey, he say survival of the fittest in the YouTube boxing landscape. That's why the coach thrives. It's no competition. I mean, you know, that's a, you know, I mean, it is what it is. I ain't really competing with nobody. It's just me. I have a criteria. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. I ain't gonna take no shit from them niggas. That's just me. I ain't taking no shit from no niggas. None of these niggas on here, man. A lot of these niggas is hoes anyways. I don't respect them. So, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. And they don't ever call a nigga too. 530-494-9636. You know, they'll send their memes over here in the chat. Drop $2 super chats and shit like that. But they'll never call that number though. You get what I'm saying? Talk that gangster shit, man. I want to hear what these niggas got to say, but they don't never say that, man. So it is what it is, man. They ain't gonna do nothing but get cussed out. Cause I'm gonna cuss their ass motherfucker now. You can believe that. You can believe that. That's all. That's the only motherfucking thing they gonna get from me. A cursing motherfucking out. Fuck these niggas. I don't give a fuck about none of them. None of them whole ass niggas. You know what I'm saying? And I mean that. And I say that disrespectfully.
And I want you to hold on to God's unchanging hand now, because he helped Joshua fight the battle of Jericho. Yes. He helped Daniel get out the lion's den. He helped Gilligan get off the island. Lord.
Hey man, shout out to B-More, man. Shout out to B-More. I told you I'm gonna play y'all all week now. Shout out to B-More.
Turn around.
Yeah, man, it is what it is, man. Today Tenderoni Fridays, man. You know how we do it. And we didn't get that many calls today, but it is what it is. Shout out to Jared from B-More. Shout out to WCS from the ATL. My brother Scotty, man. Shout out to D-Block. Dallas, Texas. Facts. Shout out to Casino Light Prayers, man, my young brother, man, from the ATL. Shout out to Joe Chill from the ATL. Goddamn ATL, but represented today. Shout out to Quentin from B-More. Shout out to Knox Million from Bridgeport, Connecticut. Shout out to Sim from Philly. Shout out to Damien from B-More 2 times. And shout out to Marcus, man, from DC. It is what it is, man. Once again, it's on, man. It's up, Coach Malachi Williams signing out. TRUMediaTodayUSA boxing. You already know what time it is, man. Today is Tenderoni Fridays, man. Today is Tenderoni Fridays, man. And shout out to Patrice Wrestling, man, and all the Tenderonis, man. We got much love for y'all. To the ops, man, the hell with y'all. Fuck y'all. That number 530-494-9636. Show us over. You can call back and say whatever the fuck you want to say. I'm waiting. We got some more interviews next week. I got a surprise. We got some more interviews next week. I will be at the Devin Haney's Vasily Lomachenko fight. We'll be there. I'm very excited about that. It is what it is, and I will be at the Crawford Spence fight. So it is what it is, man. Once again, it's on our Coach Malachi Williams signing out. I see you guys, man. See you guys. I'm gonna say I'll see you guys tomorrow at 3:00. Then I thought about it. So, but I'm gonna see you guys. I'll probably pop up tomorrow, man. Y'all keep the notifications on. Be on the lookout. Let them know, man, that we are the hottest boxing podcast in the afternoon slot. We out there because there's some good ones out there that I really, really like. But we got the afternoon slot on lock. It is what it is, and everybody watch us. From the niggas who don't like me, they can't get enough of me. And for the people who got love for us, it is what it is. Much love to everybody, man. You know I love y'all. But you know me, man. If I fuck with you, I fuck with you. And if I don't fuck with you, I don't fuck with you. And I only fuck with those who fuck with me. So if you don't fuck with me, I don't fuck with you. The hell with you, nigga. And I mean that. See you guys. Peace.
Man, I'm out of here, bro. Let's go. Come on.